So uncivilized.
Greetings and welcome to Uncivilized Scoundrel. Woo, it's a lot of feedback in the back. Who got it playing? Who got it playing? Somebody got it playing. Anyway, welcome to Uncivilized Scoundrels. It's your boy, Leo Rockwell, 1/6 scale man himself, and I am so happy to be here tonight. Or am I? I don't know. Who knows? We're going to actually see how it goes down, but you know, I got the usual suspects and one special guest. Good friend of mine. I'm so glad she's here. But we're going to dive in. I'm so glad everybody is actually tuning in tonight. This episode, which was the final episode of the Book of Boba. So yeah, like we've been on this journey now every week. I didn't even think we were planning on it, but reminded us of the simple fact that it was an every week show. So we've been doing this every week. Normally we stick to the scheme and it's only once every other week, but we've been doing this every week. So I don't know if we're going to continue with this on into we're waiting for we're waiting for we're waiting for the show. It's the show, the definitive show, Obi-Wan. Everybody's waiting on that. So, or if we're gonna do this once every week, but we'll see how actually we'll see how it goes. So anyway, without further ado, let me just bring in the panel, amazing panel of individuals that I'm happy to share the limelight with. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing?
It's good.
Good, man.
That's good. That's good. I'm so excited to have everybody here. Yes, right off the back, we got a $5 super chat. I got to find out who that's from. Okay. Malachi Mabane with the $5 super chat. May the force be with you all, bro. Thank you so much, man. May the force be with everybody out in the panel. I'm so glad everybody's here. We're gonna talk shop. You know what time it is, Book of Boba. But before we do so, let's have a round table. I just want to actually go around here and see how everybody's doing, and if the force has been with them today, we'll find it out. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's always a great night when I can come out here and talk about Star Wars with all of you tonight.
Yes. So happy that you're here. And look who we got here tonight. I mean, Mr. Butt Naked himself, aka Justice for Coolio. Like he's like a running, you know what? Your name is Mr. Running Hashtag. That's what I'm gonna call you from now on. Brandon, what's going on, bro?
Never underestimate my power.
Hey, I hear that. It's nothing wrong with that.
It's been it's good. I just had some client shoots this morning and just kind of slogging through some work and chilling, reading, still just like working on my backlog of comics and catching up. So I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm feeling wonderful, Max. I sound like worse than I just have a little like congestion from allergies. I'm not sick. I've been fine, but it's nice to know that I was missed.
Yeah. He's buttering you up. Anyway, CC3PO. How are you, CC? I'm glad that you're here. The force has been strong with you and got you here, so I'm so happy. How are you doing?
I'm good. I apologize for everyone in the chat. I'm the reason why we're a few minutes late today. But certainly glad to be here. This is going to be the icing on top of the cake for my day, I have a feeling. Anytime I get a chance to talk Star Wars with some great people is definitely a nice way to end the day.
Oh, come on, man. Everybody, come on, man. Let's make CC feel. Hashtag CC rules. Come on, man. You didn't. CC rules. Also, that's it. Hashtag
these
CC rules.
Never start on time, so it wasn't you.
You didn't ruin nothing. You didn't ruin nothing.
So I didn't have to say anything.
Nope.
Okay.
No, you didn't. You didn't. We're all fashionably late. This is how it is. And you know what? We have a special guest on tonight with us. My good friend Maya. She is a bona fide Star Wars fan, as you can see in the background. If you're not looking, if you don't see everything that she has back there, come on, man. I mean,
So jealous, man.
listen,
Look at this
that's
display,
like
man.
Incredible.
jealous, right? Like that's like a candy store for me
Oh,
right now,
man.
man. Look at all
Can
that
we just
back
leave
there.
her up for the entire show just so we can all admire her collection?
Right.
I
Like, look
mean,
at all that. Look at
Down to the
everything we
roof.
see back there, man.
she's got like everything.
Very nice.
Everything is basically needed back there. Like I gotta step
She's
my
flex-
game up.
She's Galaxy Edge flexing right now too. She got the
Super
Bob Coats
flexing,
and all
bro.
that, and-
See, I'm gonna have to talk to Toya. We're gonna have to come down here and turn this thing out. We got to turn this whole room around. We're gonna turn it around like straight up. Maya, how are you today? I'm so glad that you joined. Like we talked about this before. I was like, yo, I need to get her on, and finally to have you on. I'm so happy. How you doing?
I watch each week, so this is so fun to be part of this, and especially this week.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm about as happy as a rancor eating pikes. So, but I'm just, you know what? May the force be with everyone, and I'm so happy CC's safe and with us.
Yes.
So that's all that matters too.
Yes, thank you. And I'm so glad you're here tonight. And last but not least, Mr. Flex himself, the co-founder of this show. I mean, you know what? I'm going to call it, I don't know. You know what? Let me change your name. I'm just going to change your name to Mr. Flex. That's
guy.
That's your name, Mr. Flex. Mr. Flex himself, Mario, a.k.a. El Profesoro, who just started his new channel about a couple weeks ago. And, it's you're doing the daggone thing, man. I'm so happy, man, like literally. But what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Doing good, man. I mean, excited to hang out with everybody here on the panel, everyone here in the chat. You know, I'm super jealous of Maya's collection right now, but I think it's amazing. I'm glad that she's here, man, and I'm just, ready for a good time to talk some Star Wars, man.
Yo, it's crazy because the women always coming on here flex, bro. We got the posters behind. CC's on here doing her thing, and then we got Maya. You know what I mean? My lady was up there basically flexing with the jacket last week. I mean, come on, man. What's everybody doing? Like, what's up? Like, literally, we got to step our game up, bro. Like, we have to.
I'm not complaining, man. It's great to see.
Yes,
love
it is.
So,
it is so great to basically see it, bro.
I'll sit on the sideline and just let the ladies take over any day.
Hell yeah, right? Hell yeah, all day. That's what it is. That's what time it is. But yes, I'm so glad to have everybody here. I'm glad that we could have these conversations. We could come together, talk Star Wars every day, all day. We got a lot of Star Wars content coming. So this isn't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm happy. But it's going to be interesting. Like, tonight's conversation is going to be interesting because it's going to be interesting to see how everybody felt about the final episode and actually just this season in general. I guess that's what we're here to talk about, is how we're wrapping up with the season, how we feel about the season. So anyway, let me address the chat real quick because I know we got a few people here. We got Tobar the Great in the building. How are you? Mike Fiala, how are you? Thank you for being here. We got Fat Batman. Come on, man. That name's dope. Sire Dream, Philip the Fool. We got Max Geekdom, Latoya T. Hi, cold piece of flame. She said, Latoya T is in the building. Thank you, baby, for coming through. We got Efren Guzman is actually here. Mary Sullivan. Let's see here. The Ben Cave. Let's see here. Cold Pizza in the building. He said, Maya, that jacket, though. Everybody's talking about the jacket, though. You already know, definitely. Coming on here, flex. Everybody just comes on here flexing all the time. That's crazy. What else we got? We got let's see here. Lori Quiles is in the building. We got Filthy Yoda is in the building. We got Superheroes Display in the building. Thank you for coming through. Bob Dylan with the $5 super chat. He says, always happy to see the Coolio fan club, but the super chat is dedicated to the ladies. CC rules. That's for them. Come on, man. You already know. Coolio, that thing's taken. Anyway, we got S-Beam in the building. Charlie the Unicorn. Pablo Mesa, Renz Talentino. Let's see here. We had Superhero Displays. We actually also had a super chat by Superhero Displays. $79. Rancors are a tad aggressive, methinks. Yes, thank you, man. Who else we got? Let's see here. Philosopher King is in the building. We got Luminar in the building. Did say Charlie the Unicorn. Let's see here. Bob Dylan. We said that, but it's always good to say it again. Two Ferns is in the building. Christian Cosby is in the building. Let's see who else. Paulo 89 is in the building. Mikey Lito is actually my guy. Mikey Lito, thank you for coming through, brother. I'm so glad to see you here tonight, man. Mark Hansen is in the building. Let's see who else we got. Quite a few, man. Like everybody is just coming through. We got Fat Gadgets in the building. Yeah. Interesting, man. Like we got the whole party. We guess it's a party going on tonight. We got Tukathri in the building and Primetime Reviews. Thank everybody for actually coming through. You know, we appreciate you each and every week that you actually tune into this show. We got another super chat here by Superhero Displays. CC Rules. It's like, come on, man. You already know that's just the hashtag of the night.
Thank you.
Yes, we got the final episode. And just quickly going around and just as quickly as we can, before we dive into the meat of everything. Final episode. Your thoughts. Your thoughts in general on this particular episode. Do you think it fulfilled what we were expecting? And we're going to dive in later, but do you think it was fulfilling, or how do you feel?
I don't feel fulfilled. I liked the episode. You know, I've watched it several times, and you know, I've rewound certain parts and rewatched them over and over again, like I usually do.
Yeah.
But sadly, I don't feel completely fulfilled. Mainly just for two reasons. The main reasons are because I feel like I still am missing something with Boba. You know, like I want more from him.
Yes.
And I also felt like inserting Grogu at this time was a bit rushed for me. And, you know, I've been in relationships before, and I don't like when I feel rushed in a relationship. Normally I would end that relationship and say it's over between us. But, you know, even as a Grogu super fan, you know, I had conflicting thoughts about it, and I want what's best for the characters too. For Boba. And the thing that stood out to me about Boba, at least in this episode, was that he seems unprovocable at a time when Fennec seems to be encouraging him to go for it and do this. And at the one time when it looked like he might want to go over the edge, she says, pick your moment. And I was like, okay, isn't this kind of the moment though? You know, but, you know, overall, I would say there were some things I would change in it, but it had a lot of action scenes that were pretty good. But it still felt a little rushed. I think they packed a lot into this episode. It had a lot of good things that I liked, but I felt rushed. So.
Okay. Good little synopsis there. My man, Mr. Butt Naked, #ban. What's going on, bro? What did you basically think overall? Like what were your feels about this episode, man?
Yeah, I was left unsatisfied. I'll preface everything I'm gonna say tonight because it's mostly gonna be critical of this show, but I will preface it with this: is that if we get 10, 20, 30, however many pieces of Star Wars content, be they TV shows, movies, whatever, and 20% of them are awesome, that's a win in my book, because we're getting Star Wars content, and we went a couple decades without getting anything, you know, on screen at least. So I am not mad that this exists. I think it's a good thing that this show exists, even though it didn't do it for me, and I was disappointed with it. So there still is that silver lining of we're getting Star Wars content, and we got more shows coming. This was the first Disney Plus show that I was like, if we don't get a second season, I'm okay with that. And I did not expect to say that. But I think what and I had commented this on Facebook on a post that Dean put up, actually, and I said this series was essentially, in my opinion anyway, a series of confusing choices that were made. When just one after another, it's like every choice they made, it's like, but why? Like, not like, okay, well, that's just a difference of opinion, but like, I legit cannot find the logic behind it. And so it was just a very confusing show. And Lael, I said this to you, but if I were to list like my top 5, and there were moments that I really loved in this show, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I were to list my top 5 favorite things from this series, I don't know if any of them would actually involve Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And that is pretty rough. The in my opinion, the 2 best episodes of the show were not directed by Robert Rodriguez, and were one had Boba Fett not in it at all, and then the other one had him in it for about 60 seconds, and he literally didn't say a word, but he couldn't be bothered to put the damn helmet on for that time when he's being silent. At least look, intimidating in the helmet. So, yeah, I know people gave like Rian Johnson a lot of flack for The Last Jedi and stuff like that, and I think he made the movie that he wanted to make, but I think he understood Star Wars. He just went in a way that a lot of people didn't like. I don't know if Robert Rodriguez truthfully actually understands what Star Wars is as an IP, and I think that was a problem there. So, I mean, we'll get into all the specifics as we go tonight, but yeah, it was just a series of confusing choices for me, and I felt like all the character development for Boba Fett ended when the Tusken Raiders storyline ended. Saw him kind of evolving and his experience with the Tuskens, and people were complaining that it was too heavy on the flashbacks, but then we come to find out, once the flashbacks were done, there was no journey left. There was no evolution of his character from that point on. And so then we're kind of like pining for the flashbacks that, are done now, because they turned out were way more interesting than anything that was happening in present day. So yeah, I just, I wish it had been more.
I feel you. I definitely feel you. CC, what are your thoughts overall, like I said, about this particular episode before we kind of jump into the meat of it all?
Yeah, so just summarize real quickly, I agree with everyone else where, I wish I'm a little dissatisfied with how it ended. That being said, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I was looking for more action and violence, and we got that. We finally got that in an episode. So even though I think some of those fighting scenes could have been done differently, and some were kind of like, this doesn't feel Star Wars to me, I still think that we finally got that war with the Pikes I was waiting for the whole time. So I'm always going to consider that a win. But yeah, I think just to summarize, I think we knew this before the finale. Yeah, that this whole season was really disjointed, and could have been, the pacing was just really off with those flashbacks in the beginning. So yeah, I think it's disappointing, but I think too, when you're kind of like a drug addict when it comes to Star Wars, and this is like, hey, you want some crack? I'm like, yeah, I want some crack. Like, it might not be like the best rock, but like, I'll take it. So I think like I'm happy that this season existed, but I'm still able to say at the end of it that I'm a little disappointed. So yeah,
I'm fairly certain no crackhead has ever said, well, this isn't the best rock, but I'll take it. I think it was, no, gimme. But
yeah,
I get where you're going there.
I was going for something there, but you're right. I think I don't get a lot of testimonials from crackheads lately. So, but yeah, that's my quick summary of how I feel about the season.
Yeah. Somebody in our chat, they basically brought up an interesting point, but I'm gonna wait till I go around because this is interesting. I'm glad they said it because I was kind of thinking the same thing. But Maya, now I know that you kind of thoroughly you enjoyed it. Like you did basically.
I'm gonna break away from everybody on this, but but I'll explain why. And it's not so much a critique on the show. As an adult, I wanted Narcos Tatooine. I wanted the next evolution of the drug dealers pushing spice and the violence, but it's Disney Plus, and I have to approach Star Wars in the idea of what Carrie Beck and the team are doing. Yeah. And they're making a show for the next generation of 12 and 13-year-olds. Yeah. And they're making a show not for someone like me in the plus 30 category. So if I wanted a Rancor, the Clash of the Titans ending with the Rancor on the building eating pikes, I got that, and I was thrilled with it.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a problem in the Star Wars community, and I think, especially with this show, is there's some mythos around Boba Fett being more than he is a guy. And he's this test tube baby who had no father, after age, 7 or 8, or 10 years old. He was raised on his own and had to adapt. And he gets the first family he's ever had that showed him tough love, but also friendship. And then they're murdered. And I loved watching the deeper evolution of this man finding something to believe in other than being a killer.
Yeah.
And it ends with Cad Bane saying, "You're a killer. I knew you were a killer." And there's something about it, though, where he's struggling with that argument inside himself.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get the R-rated on that we all wanted, and this Superman flying around, bashing heads and blowing things away. I like them deconstructing him into just a man, and I like the helmet coming off because he's not nothing more than a test tube clone. He isn't special. He wasn't engineered to be tougher. He seat of his pants in a little flight suit. He was left with a decapitated father and a ship, and he was left on a planet that a bunch of bugs. So he had to figure out who he was, and we got to kind of see that. And I know it's not the approach or the mythos that was in the Star Wars book and the Scoundrel and the Tales of Tatooine and Jabba's Palace. But there's something about this series that I think there's so much more deeper than. I've watched it 3 times now and part of a 4th, and the last episode. And I love the fact that they did do what they did to Cad. I don't need that person story. We know he's a cold-blooded serial killing alien, and he has nothing more to him than what he's the job he's on. So for me, it fulfilled that, because I kind of have to look at it as if I was 12 or 13. This is my first experience with Boba Fett. My first experience of not what we've all created in our heads for 40 years. And it was really neat to see somebody deconstruct that and tell a different version of it. And I like the helmet off. I like him being a human, or an alien human, but I like that. And I like even the teenagers on the scooters. And I got the Quadrophenia Who reference with their bikes, and the age of the creators putting that in had nothing to do with, the Back to the Future kind of deal. It's more of a quadrophenia. The bike is right off the cover of, the Who's Quadrophenia. And I like that little ode to certain things in our nostalgia. So I loved it. And I know I sit on the outside and so many people really have problems with it. But to me, I had problems with some of the other Marvel shows. I thought Loki and a few of them were too long. This one, I could have handled 3 more episodes, and I wish they had dragged out more of the drug dealing and the fighting and pieced us in with some less Mando into 2 episodes. So,
you know what? You raise a good question, though, because do you think that because of the simple fact that they knew it was only 7 episodes, they tried to squeeze so much into the 7 episodes without really so much as like fleshing out certain things that could have gotten more attention, like you said, like the underworld, the pikes, the drug dealing with the spice, seeing stuff like that, would have brought more attention. Even like, for instance, if we would have saw, like, we only actually got one malicious act that we actually saw from the pikes, which was them blowing up the cantina. You know what I mean? Like, that was really it. I wanted to see more of that in other spurts where it does cause more of an uproar with his response.
I think people miss the fact that because it is COVID, it's 1.5 million more a week for them just for the protocols of COVID, to have people on the set, that keeping people at distances and everything. And they film in the round in a very compact studio set. So they had to cut these short. I think they would probably have originally planned on 10 for this, but you're looking at a budget of an additional $4.5 million for just 3 more episodes. And that's not paying the set or anything. That's just on the COVID protocols. So yeah, I think we would have gotten more, but I think in the editing and then looking at the scripts, they can't go too far. I mean,
they had to kind of stay.
Yeah.
I get that.
See, if you're worried about about having to condense too much into 7 episodes, don't make 2 of them backdoor Mando episodes.
Exactly.
That's the thing, is like, and like I understand what you're saying about COVID, and that's affecting productions all over the world, and that's just a reality, and we have to accept that that's going to have an impact. But knowing that going in, if you are like, we've only got 7 episodes, and whether it's budget is a concern, whether it's time and everything like that, I mean, you wasted 2 episodes on stuff that you didn't need to, because realistically, like, Mando is massively popular. I mean, they're not worried about trying to attract new eyeballs to Mando. Mando is a success, you know, so you tend to kind of have those like a backdoor pilot in an established show, something like that, to try and gauge interest in a character or in a premise, and to try and just kind of get the ball rolling, get some momentum for it. That wasn't necessary for this. And the decisions that were made to focus an entire, and granted, I loved the episode. It was probably my favorite episode of the season, was the Mando focused episode. But it literally did nothing to advance the plot of this show. And so if that's a concern, if condensing it into only 7 episodes is a concern, well, really it was 6, because you took out Mando. But then the next episode after that, Boba Fett was in it for about a minute. And again, it was focused on Mando. It was focused on Cobb Vanth, introduced Cad Bane. All really cool things, but did very little to advance the plot of this show. This was essentially a 5-episode season with 2 other episodes of other shows kind of like tossed in the mix. And I think it was just, I think it just came down to poor planning and poor writing.
And speaking of which, Mario, I'm gonna get to you real quick though, because that was what I was gonna bring up, because there was one individual that actually in here, you know, SJC 360 said Favreau wrote all the episodes. Why does he get no blame? No,
he gets some.
He gets blame. He gets
Absolutely.
blame, but he gets, and he should get blamed. But here's where I look at this, like, and I keep saying this, it's like literally the Mandalorian was the Boba Fett that he wanted. And the story that filtered around that was basically like, and they had talked about it. He had presented the idea of a Boba Fett show or a film at that point, but they gave him, you know, he actually, you know, presented Mando because he knew at that time there was an interest, but they couldn't shoot it. It was so much going on with it. And they gave him the Mandalorian, but the story was written that in his mind was Boba. So when you get that, and you can't really anticipate how successful the show is going to be, but you get 2 successful seasons, and then they say, okay, now we're going to do a Book of Boba. He's like, okay, what? Like, I wrote this treatment that I gave you was for a Boba Fett series, but now you're telling me now you want to do Boba? Now I got to go back to the drawing board and come up with these particular ideas. Now, here's my thing. Rodriguez, I'm not going to put the full blame on him. I can't, because he's a director. Like, he's basically a director. And despite what people may think, Robert Rodriguez has gave us some iconic films. Iconic films. Films that I love. Come on, Alita. I love Alita Battle Angel. I'm just going to tell you that right off the back. I've always have, and I'll stand. Yeah. People may not, but I love that film from front to back. Everything that I got from it, I loved it. All of it. Mm-hmm. Now, with that basically being said, I kind of agree, whereas Robert Rodriguez maybe needed to now he said that Boba Fett is his favorite character. He admitted that. He said that was, a character that, he grew up with, he's always loved and wanted the chance to do it. And I commend him for that. It's just the execution, and maybe I wonder if he even sat back and read the script and read all the writing, was like, well, okay, I'll take what I can. And here, I admit, like, I love the evolution. I love seeing the evolution of a character push forward, and how much all of us weren't really talking about the flashbacks, but then at the very end, it's like some of the greatest moments that I feel that we got the entire show was during the flashbacks when we got a chance to see him with the Tuskens. So I don't know. It's I think the writing in Jeff, but the thing is, let's look, Jon Favreau, I'm not saying that he's perfect all the time, but he gives us some great stuff. So I'll take that and run with it. Mario, what did you basically think of this episode? Because do I have to call you wild card Mario, bro? But like literally, like I know you because the thing is, usually, because Mario, like, you asked me, he's like, you want to stream? And I was like, let me check with the lady. And when I did that, I fell asleep literally. But I didn't hear nothing else after that. I was like, okay, I wondered if he watched the series or this episode and what he actually felt. So I was like, I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to dive in. I'm just going to basically wait and see what you feel. So what did you feel about it overall so far?
So this actual episode, it was cool. It was fun. I enjoyed some of the stuff that I saw. I thought it was completely action packed, but it was one of those things where it's like, it felt like an episode with nothing but empty calories in a sense. We're getting all the sweets, we're getting all the donuts, all the candy, but I didn't feel any sense of closure through the season, considering that they didn't mention that there's going to be, like, if there's going to be a season 2, or if Boba's actually going to go out and join, the Mandalorian for whatever adventures he's going to be on. It just felt like, okay, this happened, and then it was over. And that was it. There was like no sense of closure in the end, right? All we just saw was just everybody I guess getting the respect that he asked for. Yeah. And they all just basically shared a piece of fruit and they laughed with each other. And that was it. It was kind of like an end of a G.I. Joe cartoon or something like that. Where just laughing. You know what I mean?
I love it.
But
they were the empty calories that Peacemaker put back. Yeah.
No spoilers, please. I haven't seen Peacemaker yet. But I mean, it was enjoyable. It was cool. Yeah. I loved seeing Boba on the Rancor. I thought that was hella cool to see. Yeah. But again, man, there was just no sense of fulfillment for me. Yeah. So that's why I was just like completely I felt let down by it. I understand how everybody did like it, and it's great. I love that. I celebrate that. I love the fact that people enjoy it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I mean, everyone else that didn't enjoy it, I can also understand as well. But for me personally, I just felt like unfulfilled. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I the one thing that I can actually say that I wanted that I got was that there were no more cameos. There were no one else was actually thrown into the fray. It had to, and I wanted it to end. I wanted it to end that way. I didn't want them to just all of a sudden throw other people in the mix, because we needed to focus on Boba. We needed to see Boba in action, and plain and simple, like from what I wanted and saw, I got that. I kind of got what I wanted basically from that aspect. And what excited me, honestly, was this scene. Like, this scene right here, I was hype about.
That was great.
This was great.
I was so hype about the simple fact that we got both of these guys back. And I love the jargon between both of them. I love the simple fact that Din Djarin, regardless of the simple fact that, he's dealing with the simple fact that he's been dismissed, but yet he still follows the creed. He still not once has taken off his helmet. Not once. He didn't take it off at all. He still follows that, and he lives by loyalty. And he was like, I'm not leaving. That's part of a creed. This is the way. I am not leaving.
This scene, that is how you spin during a gunfight. Not that whatever the hell that biker.
That 1.5 spin.
That spin
draw.
Like, baffles me.
That kid was on the wrong set.
I don't understand that at all. Yeah. It was like John Woo took some LSD and then directed that scene. I don't know what happened there, but that spin was just redonkulous.
Yeah.
But that's Rodriguez. That's Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
No, go back and watch Once Upon a Time. Go back, watch Alita Battle Angel. He's done some great work. That scene that was just doo-doo stew. There's no justifying that spin. There's no justifying that spin.
It just didn't fit. And should I didn't feel like I had to say this before, but with the LSD talk, I don't condone drug use. I know I'm from Colorado, but I feel the need to say that because I made that crack about crackheads. Anyway, that spin, it just, as soon as it happened, it just felt awkward. And to me, it reminded me of it's been out long enough, I could say this, Black Widow. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, you're such a poser. That's exactly what it felt like. It felt like...
I love everyone's mad about the spin, but not the fact that two 80-pound kids are dragging
holding up Black Chrysanthemum. Oh, that's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm not mad about it. I just thought it was funny.
Being dragged by two kids we're okay with, but the spin was making everyone mad.
No, actually had to crouch down for them to hold him up.
Anything. I was just saying that I didn't think it looked, appropriate in the scene.
Yeah. I mean, the spin, I could take the spin. I could take the spin. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm trying to oversee that because I'm just like, you know what? No, there was a moment. I'm like, okay, I'm throwing all that out the door because I'm like, I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see it in my mind.
I don't know how he fixed his ankle.
Yeah,
the ankle. I was like, he dislocated his ankle, and then
he was running in one scene, and then
rubbed some dirt on it.
Yeah, I don't get it. It was just so much that was kind of out of place about it. But this scene, I loved. I love the simple fact that they were. I did not want it to end. I love seeing them basically just fighting and keeping each other's back the entire time. I mean,
Boba finally fire his weapon too.
Yeah,
man.
bro. Yeah,
for the first time throughout the entire season.
Did you see the one Heisman pose that he pulled off?
Oh my god!
Did you see? Yeah, right.
He lifts his leg up, one arm that way, not even looking.
The knee rocket is like to me tactically, I feel like it's just the stupidest weapon unless you're able to pull off the Heisman pose in a gun battle, and then it works.
Well,
no, but he did it.
He did it in Mandalorian, and that was dope when he did that. Like the way it was done there, putting his, he had his knee up on the rock, on the boulder, and
he had the momentum going, and he just did it.
That was dope.
It was dope. Fired it out.
But this one was just something. I was like, "Yo, did you just score or something?" And I didn't see it. But
he was like straight arming somebody.
What'd you say?
It was like get ready to do a.
What'd you say, Maya?
A crane kick.
Yeah, but it's a shot for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. If you go and watch the last 11 minutes, he shot it almost like storyboarded it. So it's so cool because the way they swing out and they do the shooting over and all of it, it was so cool that you can tell the stuff that inspired Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So I get with what's disappointing for I think a lot of people is through the whole series. There's peppering of brilliance.
Yeah.
And when you get that taste of a little bit of brilliance and then they mix it in with some other stupid stuff, you're like, that's when I see the disappointment. Is the potential for some really badass fucking shit,
Yeah.
And that was one of those moments. For me, I grew up on Clash of the Titans and those early 80s Dragon Slayer and the rubber creatures. The Rancor destroying a village was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that was dope.
It was awesome.
That was dope.
And then
King Kong stuff, wasn't it?
On top of a rubber freaking Rancor and a Yoda, I was done.
It was dope because we got to see. The thing is, we got to see a Rancor the way we wanted to see a Rancor, and not in the pit as a puppet. Even though, like I said, I do dig, and I'd always dug practical. I love that for back then. But seeing the evolution of the Rancor and how they did it, and it was done because even how it was done, it wasn't overly CGI. You know what I mean? It looked tasteful. It looked really great, and I liked seeing him fight. I just love. And on top of that, what was peppered in with that is the simple fact that regardless, that Rancor still wasn't a hero. It still wanted to fuck everybody up. Like literally, that's just the way it was. Like
it was a Rancor rampage.
Yeah, like he did Mando dirty. He was ready to destroy. And but you have to understand why. It's because the only person that he recognized and that he felt safe with was Boba. That's it. It was like that in that initial imprint in the very beginning. That was
and
it.
Maybe it was a bad idea for all the teen biker gangs to start shooting the Rancor.
Yeah,
maybe
that was they should have
not
did
the
that.
smartest thing to do. Then maybe Mando wouldn't have had to get his ass kicked like that.
Yeah, that's
saying,
true.
like, stop shooting. The thing just helped you guys destroy those 2 droids.
And then
maybe stop shooting it.
Yeah, it was kind of. We got a $4.99 super chat by Superhero Displays. Maya Macy, I agree with you with everything you said. To quote George Lucas, I made this stuff for kids. It's not my fault that adults like it too. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, but nowadays you can write for both audiences. I mean, you see Pixar doing that a lot. There's a lot of heavy themes. Like look at Coco. It was enjoyable for everybody, man, and it got us all us grown-ups like, you know, crying our eyes out at the end of the damn film.
Yeah,
you know, so you can definitely hit the heartstrings of everyone.
And you know what? There was nothing about this episode that was for kids. Period. Nothing. There was nothing about this episode that was for kids. When we're talking about spice, we're talking about the underworld. We're talking about, I mean, just straight up violence. It was nothing. But I actually get the reference. Kids. What'd you say?
So don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs. That's basically it.
What, I'm jumping ahead, but Fennec.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think everyone knows. We'll get to it. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but in chronological order. But what Fennec did was definitely not for kids. That's the kind of stuff I was expecting the whole season.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they waited till the 11th hour to do that. But you know, we finally got more action. Boba Fett finally used his rifle. He finally shot a rocket. I think it took a very long time for us to get to this point.
That was and that was my point. It was getting him to that point, because the thing is, I was always saying the entire time, if you're not going to fire that rifle, why are you carrying it around? Like, you have no intent. I mean, I know you want to protect yourself, but I mean, you're protecting yourself, or you're carrying it around with zero intent. And you're, put it this way, you're carrying it around in moments that you don't need it, but in moments that you do need it, it's like you don't use it. Like, I don't know. But again, I mean, I understood it. I got it. I think it was just one of those things where the episode, or this, especially this final episode, there should have been something there, because that kind of like, I don't know. All right, put it this way, and I think that we were spoiled. I think all of us were spoiled because the last 2 seasons of Mando, the last episodes were always great. Like, they were always amazing. It tied everything together. It made sense. It even gave us basically we had like a post-credit scene in the very end. And it was a satisfying post-credit scene. I think this post-credit scene, this season is going to really piss a lot of people off. Like, it is. Because if you mod Cad Vanth, if you basically mod Cobb Vanth, no, don't do that. Like, that's the one thing. You can do everything else, and you've already shown us with the kids. You don't mod him. Like, he has so much richness as a character. We don't need that. So I don't know.
Shoulder. Why does he need to be? Why
exactly?
Like, seriously. But here's the thing: fix his shoulder, get the dude some armor.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, what if they? I love Timothy Olyphant is one of my all-time favorite actors. All right. Yep. Justified, one of my all-time favorite shows. He's perfect as Cobb Vanth. Look, I love Alita Battle Angel. This is not Alita Battle Angel. He does not need all these cyber mods. That was my issue with the biker gang. Is like, I get, the Quadrophenia reference, I homage, I get all that stuff. But there comes a certain point where you got to stop paying homage to all these other properties and write for the property that you're in, that you're actually writing for, and that's Star Wars. And those bikes, you can't even call them speeder bikes because they moved like snails. All right, those bikes, just the colorful, the style, the nature of them, they just don't fit in Star Wars. The music that was like playing when they were doing all the cyber mods on Fennec when he went in that flashback. it's just completely out of character, out of universe for this IP, for Star Wars. It just doesn't fit. All right? If I was watching a cyberpunk movie, if I was watching Alita Battle Angel, totally fine. It's not, it's out of place in this. And having him come in when, again, it was pretty clear, Cobb Vanth, he got shot in the shoulder. Like, and now he's in the bacta tank. Also, I just think it was poor writing because they blatantly tried to make you convinced that he was dead by the bartender saying they gunned him down in cold blood. You don't say they gunned him down in cold blood if he's still just recuperating from being shot in the shoulder. You'd be like, he's resting up, we got a doc looking at him, hopefully he'll pull through. Like, it was lazy writing on that part so that they could kind of try and shock everybody with the post-credit scene with Cobb Vanth. And cyber modding, droid modding him, whatever, if they do that, it's the stupidest thing. Like,
you know what's kind of interesting?
I know it's a trigger for me, but I'm really going to be bothered by that if that's the route they seemingly are going.
I'm sorry. You know what's kind of interesting about what you were saying, too, is that, Cobb was the one person who, even though he had armor previously, he was still willing to die, even though he didn't have the armor. Mm-hmm. So, it's very interesting if he does end up getting armor or something. Not that it would be a bad thing, but he was willing to just die. He didn't care that he didn't have the armor anymore. And that was very interesting about him.
I think I wanted, and I guess it's just me being a fan of the character. I just think that his presence during this episode would have been welcomed so much more. I mean, we would have got a chance to basically see him in action. He would have been needed. Just to even, if put it this way, if he had to go out, this would have been the perfect time for him to go out in this episode. Even if it was just a wound or, flesh wound, whatever you want to call it. But I get why they did it last episode. But I don't know. Look, put it this way. I thoroughly enjoy certain things about it. I enjoyed a lot of things about it, but it's just something was missing to me. It was just something that it felt like it was missing. And I was like, when I sat back and I watched it again, I was like, okay, what am I supposed to take away from it? Like, what is it that I'm supposed to understand? Now, I get the simple fact that, all right, number one, we've watched his journey. We watched him become who he is now. And we watched, like, all right, for instance, we know
Are you
that
talking about Boba?
Boba, yeah. I'm just so I'm getting to Boba right now. We watched his journey, but
did we?
Sort of. We did. Yeah. But we watched his journey somewhat in the very beginning, but a lot of this had to also do with the Tusken Raiders and what he wanted to do for them. But yet, I think a more satisfying ending to me would to go back where it started, go back to the Tusken, find the ones that are survived or alive, and just let them know that now you have a level of safe passage or whatever. And I don't know if it was just me wishing that would happen. Yeah.
Boba died. The Boba that we all love for 40 years died that moment he went into the Sarlacc pit. The Boba that came out of that pit is completely changed. He's not going to be a killer. He's not going to go ballistic with his gun. He's hesitant. He's seen death. The one thing he loved is not there. Yeah, we all wanted to have the gunslinger episode. We got that. He's called the Mandalorian. He shoots everything. He kills everything. But the evolution of this person, this character, and I think it might just stand alone because it is just the book of Boba, is the fact that I think the book has closed. We don't need this. He was never a superhero. What do you have? 3 minutes of screen time, or a total of
6, I think it was.
Yeah. If you added up everything and the cartoon, the Hollywood's holiday special, but if you add that up, what we got was this really cool evolution I liked him being hesitant, holding the gun, taking the finger off the trigger. He was thinking about other people other than Boba. He was thinking about other things that might happen to somebody else's future, how to protect these people. And he said things like "my people," which is something in his 50 years, in the adventure, he never had before. And he was screwed over, and he's killed things. And I like. It's kind of like a movie called Pale Rider, or even Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood, where this murderer is at the end of his life, and he has to go back in that one more time to do this. But he's so hesitant, it ends up getting his friends hurt, and it's not who he is anymore because he's found something to love. And I like watching the evolution. I think we get so caught up on the serialization each week that it's not meeting our Star Wars quota or something that we don't. I think when this sits back, just like I remember when The Last Jedi came out, it was the biggest pile of shit to some fans. People shit on that movie, still do, but now it's like come around and they're like, I love that movie. That movie's beautiful and great. I thought it was beautiful and great at the moment, but it took a few years to come back around in the evolution. I think Book of Boba, when you come back to it, and if you set it on a shelf for a year or so, and you come back to it, I think you'll start to detail the evolution of the subtleties of what he was doing. There are problems with it, absolutely. I think there was wasted opportunities, absolutely. I don't understand the end credits with Cobb Vanth because he's going to be our Knights of the, or what is it, the Republic. He's going to Sheriffs of the Republic or whatever. He's gonna,
I think that got tabled.
Yeah, he's going to be taking over for Gina's position that she was going to have. I think.
I don't know if that's actually confirmed because he's doing a revival of Justified.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, I didn't like that tag on, and I don't like them trying to crowbar in a little love for the Mandalorian to keep us a little hungry at the buffet until the next series gets here. But no, I really think there's an evolution in there. There's something deeper to it. And I get what Favreau was writing, and I get what Rodriguez was doing. And if you go back and look at the Tusken story, I don't think he needed to go back because I think he's part of it. I think as he works on Tatooine and he starts working with them, he'll help the other tribes and stuff. But I don't know. I was not left unfulfilled in his story. I think I got enough of it, and I think some other people did too. I just, we focused on some of the other stuff so much.
And I get that. Here's my thing: is like, all right, I can appreciate the evolution of Boba. I can appreciate that, but when you're not getting enough episodes to flesh that out, and it's mainly it's like, I mean, come on, and everybody has to admit it. They were leaning on the simple fact that The Mandalorian was a popular IP, a popular show, 100%. And they felt as though they need to shoehorn that in on this season to make it relevant. And I'm like, you didn't, because people know the popularity of Boba. Boba can stand on his own 2 feet. We didn't need that. Like, that episode that we actually got of The Mandalorian or when he was there, like, we didn't need to see that at all. Like, literally, they could have saved that for the opening sequence of, season 3. Like, they could have actually saved that for then. Like,
I
we
would have
didn't
actually released it right before on May the 4th. I would have just done a 6-episode book of Boba, left the Mando out, and on May the 4th, given a special 1 hour and a half special gift of a Mando.
Those 2 episodes.
That would have been a very good idea. Actually. Yep. Yeah, its own episode, its own thing.
Yeah, just a little special.
Lael, on the topic of evolution, so this is where I got to be the spoiler here, in that I disagree. I don't think there was an evolution. I think some people are giving Favreau and Rodriguez a pass on this because. Maya, to your point about Boba, like, that we knew, like, dying the second he went into the Sarlacc pit. I disagree with that because we got the Boba Fett that we all knew and loved and wanted in that episode of Mando season 2 when he was vicious. He killed those stormtroopers with such ferocity. That Boba was still there. Okay? So I don't think it was he went in one man and he came out another. I think we saw the Boba that we all expected last season. And I think that is the problem, for me personally at least, with this show, is that I think Favreau and Rodriguez chose a direction that they wanted to go with this character, but they didn't earn it. It went straight from season 2 Mando, the version of Boba that we got in that, to this completely changed, completely different Boba on this, which literally picks up right at the end of season 2 of Mando. Mm-hmm. There was not an evolution. It was an about face. It was he pulled a 180. There wasn't, and the flashbacks with the Tusken Raiders, all of that stuff happened before what we saw in Mando season 2. So it's not like that was a journey that then changed him in this show. And to me, the whole, I think this series is kind of defined by them wanting to do things that they didn't earn. And I'm not saying that, like, I mean that, like, you got to dedicate enough time to that evolution and show its progression and show that there is a process by which he becomes the person that he is now versus what we all saw before. And I think that's the thing that they shortchanged on and we didn't get. And when you do that, it feels, again, like stuff was not earned. And it is perfectly summed up for me by Cad Bane's line when he said, he's like, I still can't figure out what's your angle. And that was it to me. It was like, I can't figure out what Boba Fett's angle, what his real motivation, because the whole sense of, these are my people, I can't abandon them. Since when? That wasn't earned either. The only people that we saw in Mos Espo's, was the businessman, the water guy who was an asshole. Yeah. Then the kids who came to work for Boba Fett. All right. And you saw Jennifer Beals, who they wasted and then killed. So that was wonderful. But, like, he went into the cantina a couple of times. There were no relationships with any of the people of Mos Espo's. And somebody in the chat also mentioned, it's like all these people from Freetown came to fight. But there was nobody from Mos Espo's, from where he was supposedly trying to protect.
That was Mikey Lito. That's what I was going to bring up. Mikey Lito said that. He put up a $5 super chat. Am I the only one that has a problem with the town of Freetown came and did battle, but the entire town of Mos Espo went and hid until everything was over? Well, here,
Lael, to your point, if they had gone back to the Raiders, or if the Raiders were threatened, or if they spent time with Boba in these episodes trying to maybe flesh out a relationship or two with some of the people in Mos Espo's, the way he had cared about the Raiders, then it would have been earned. But we literally never meet anybody that he's motivated to give a damn about. So, but all of a sudden, these are my people. I won't abandon them. Why are they your people?
I want to know what everybody. I'm sorry, Mario. I want to know what everybody. I want to know what everybody thinks and why Boba said at the end, after all that effort that he put in to get to this point, to say to Fennec,
for this.
Yeah, like, why am I the right person? Like, I just want to know what everybody else thinks, because in my mind, I'm just so baffled by it.
Mara, what were you about to say, real quick?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mario.
Because we got the impression that he comes in wanting to rule, like be an underworld mob boss in a sense. He gathered a meeting with all of the heads of other families or whatever you want to call them, to say why should we all fight with each other when a corporation can make us all rich? That's mob mentality. But then all of a sudden, that's what I was going to point out to what Brendan was saying, is that it was never really fleshed out to where he went from that mentality to all of a sudden, I'm a man of the people. These townsfolk are my people. That was never really fleshed out. So that's why when he went, it was. I think that's the unfulfillment that I'm talking about, is that I think the evolution of him in the past with the Tuskens did evolve him. I loved how they actually humanitized him in a sense. right? And then he also mentioned too that he doesn't want to work for anybody anymore. He's tired of seeing his bounty hunter kin like being killed and stuff like that. So when in the Mandalorian, when he went and did his thing with the Empire, that was like, I saw that as like complete rage. He let his old self come out, but that's not who he actually really was anymore. So I think in that sense, he actually was like actually evolved, but in that particular moment in time is when he actually just let it all out, right? So after
there's a line in the last episode. He there's a moment where Boba's sitting there in the building that's blown up, and he says, "I want to take this to the palace. I want to get this out of here." And they said, "But this is where the people are, and this is where the fight's going to be." And there's a moment there where you see it, where I think the evolution, and there are moments of it where he started to see. He's at that table last week when he was at the table, and he was like, "We're going to need help with this," and they're talking about how this is going to be a fight, and he said, "No, this is going to be a war." And for the first time ever, he's starting to see the casualties of war. Whereas where he was just a cold-blooded killer, spot on, capture this prey and get a paycheck, his actions are starting to have repercussions. And he saw that with the Tuskens. He went out and did something. He helped the Tuskens get rid of that one train, and it ended up killing them all. So I think as a leader, when you start to get in those positions, you start to see that your actions, as minute as they might be, let's kill this guy, and you're not going to sell spice here, it had repercussions through it. I think when he was at the table, he knew that those people were never going to help him. I think he knew no one was coming to fight with him. But what he was hoping was they would stay, the fuck out.
Neutral.
They didn't. Yeah, and it didn't work well for him. But I think there's things like when you're becoming like a new leader or you're trying that position, but there is something in the episodes that I think as we go back and I think as we enjoy them, because not on here, I'm loving all of our differences on the episode, but God, like on Twitter and stuff, it has been so toxic.
Yes.
It was like deadly toxic. Yeah. I was like,
every time you guys call me.
Yeah, I was just muting. He's in the background. Go ahead.
Oh, sweet. No deal. No, but I saw never let Rodriguez touch another thing. And I still was seeing some stuff about Kathleen Kennedy, and I'm like, you do know Jon Favreau wrote these, right?
Had nothing to do with Kathleen Kennedy, man. Like that's
people just love to hate on Kathleen Kennedy, and
she's the god of my life because Goonies, E.T., Jurassic Parks, everything that every great IP in my life, she's had some hand in.
She's had hands in. She's an amazing producer. Here's the thing, and I wanted to kind of
woman in a position of power, and people
and they hate that, and they hate that. But here's the thing, I wanted to mention this too because and I know Brendan, you talked about it, what the Boba that we actually got from Mandalorian to now. Reading the books, and if you even read like some of the graphic novels, if you read some of the books, you know why Boba hates the Empire the way he hates them right now. You know why. And that was rage. What we saw was complete rage. Mind you, it was in an area there was no other. It wasn't populated or highly populated by. It was just in one little area. No one else was around. So at that, there was nothing to lose. No casualties. No nothing. He went ape shit because of what he hated most about them, and that was this. But here, almost Espa, when he's in public eye, and you even seen that with Fennec. We seen some of the viciousness about the drop because he was like, no, I can take him. Fennec was like, no, don't do it. Not here. Not right now. You'll have your moment. You'll have your time. But no. And I think it's the simple fact that she's showing that, okay, you have to assert yourself a certain way in the public eye. You have to be seen a certain way and not handle things the way you would normally handle them. Because we're saying that, okay, the viciousness is gone. But it's like, you know what? It's like I compare him to what we see from Zendaya in Euphoria. The temptation is still there, and he's fighting it. He is fighting it as much as he can because even though he says he doesn't want to be that person anymore, it came out, and we saw basically even in the end at this episode, which I'm gonna talk about because that scene pissed me off because it should have been fleshed out a lot more. It should have been bigger. It should have been I wanted a scene. I wanted a battle unlike anything else between them two because we deserved that knowing their history, and we didn't get it. But anyway, we saw some viciousness there, and we saw that come out because he could have spared his life, but he's like, "Oh, fuck that! Nope. This is my time, and I got it." What are you gonna say, CC?
They're trying to kill his puppy.
So I think so my issue with that is I feel like the entire series we heard the opposite. Like we've been saying that we wanted him to go crazy and lose it because the whole time he's been saying I'm not gonna rule with fear, I'm gonna rule with respect, and we're just waiting for him to lose it and finally flex a bit. And if he had, then maybe those families wouldn't have turned on him at the end. But what I think is, the one thing I said right after I watched it was this series didn't feel very clever to me. Like the only thing that I was like, oh, okay, was when the Pikes were like, that biker gang didn't kill the Tuskens, we did. But as soon as we saw what happened to the Tuskens, I was like, oh great, this is Boba Fett's motivation to want to be a crime lord, because otherwise it seems like really random and a shot in the dark. Like, why would he suddenly want this? He wants to protect the people of Mos Espa. He wants to protect the Tuskens from the Spice. We got no reminder of his relationship with the Tuskens, of his motivation regarding the Tuskens, until this moment where he happened to use a gaffy stick. So it would have been great had they were so heavy with flashbacks. It would have been great had we gotten these like small reminders that that's the reason why he went into this whole endeavor to begin with. And I think that even that conversation with the Pikes and Cad Bane saying like, you're a ruthless killer. It's like, well, we haven't seen that really until like Mando. Like I'm missing the Boba Fett we got from that episode of Mando.
Yep.
But I was expecting something almost like we got at the end of Solo. Like I wanted a more interesting villain than these Pikes. And I also wanted a little bit of mystery behind it where you're like, oh, this is what's been happening behind the scenes. That explains why Boba Fett's had his hands tied this whole time and has been reluctant to attack them. Like something to explain why he was kind of almost complacent this whole time. And, we had to get those 2 episodes with Mando. And even like, I thought that conversation with the Pikes, they're going to say like, yeah, we killed those Tuskens and we have this one and this one held hostage as collateral, so that if he tries to attack us, then things are going to be interesting and it's going to be another great Mexican standoff. And we didn't get that. It felt very surface. So like I said, disappointing. I was kind of expecting that like wizard behind the curtain kind of moment, like Wizard of Oz style. And we didn't. I know it's Book of Boba, but everything felt, I know people going into it said that they had a lot of things to wrap up. I don't think they did, because we didn't have any mysterious cliffhangers or questions in our minds about like, well, who did this or who did that or what's going to happen with this. I think the only one I have is like, where the hell's been Slave One this whole time? Maybe like, why didn't we see him using that more often? But it really is kind of bookend where we saw his relationship with the Tuskens. We saw like, there's one episode, I think it was the first episode. All we got out of that was the Tusken flashback where he gained the respect. And then the assassination attempt. That was it. That was an entire episode. So I feel like with how short this season was, they wasted a lot of time that could have been consolidated into 1 episode as opposed to 3, perhaps. So it felt really disjointed. But yeah, I think I expected it. Like again, it felt very almost towards the end when he's walking through the town. It felt kind of sitcom-y. Yeah. Where he's walking through and it's like, yay, like I was waiting for that like Return of the Jedi parade music to start, like congrats, like you just defeated the Empire kind of stuff. And I was like, no, the conflict is interesting. I want more conflict.
I have a question for all of you, everybody out there, but would you have liked a show that had nothing to do with the present Boba, but had just been a 6 episode about his past after the Sarlacc? And then we could have maybe season 2 moved into the spice trade instead of
that would have been dope.
I would have been all for it, but I think larger audiences probably would have been like, no, I want to see Boba in his armor, and I don't think people would have had the patience. I would have been down for it though.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would have loved
I would
that.
have watched it,
Like,
just like I
like
watched
a
this one.
darker version, just the grittiness of him learning, like the Avatar, learning, the ways.
Yeah, exactly. To Cece's point though about the Pikes not being really all that interesting as far as a villain goes, and as we were hoping, am I the only one who thinks that it would have been so much better if we had a reveal at some point, either late episodes like when he came in, or maybe even like toward the middle and then the fallout later, where we find out that the Pikes actually used Cad Bane, and Cad Bane was responsible for killing Boba's Tusken family.
That would have been cool.
Because they already have this history, but they didn't actually really show or discuss any of the history in the show. But if you made Cad Bane, he's like, actually, motherfucker, I'm the one who killed all of your, wouldn't that have, like...
Been more of an
Then you
impact.
would have had Boba and Cad Bane you would have had a showdown. You would have had something really powerful there.
Yeah.
And you could have then made Cad Bane the main villain of the show.
Yeah.
Because like the leader of the Pikes was, I mean,
Did he have a
wasn't
name? Do we even know his name?
I don't even.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
I'm sure he does in the credits, but we don't know it, and that's the thing. And to me, it was just like, again, I what really baffled me too is how they used Fennec, and not just Cad Bane, but Fennec in this final episode. She left the episode 18 minutes in to an hour-long episode to go and then be gone for the entire battle, which they desperately needed one of their best fighters. She's gone for that entire thing.
She was doing a Starbucks run or something.
And then she comes back in the final scene, and yeah, it was badass the way she took out, all of those crime bosses and the Pikes. But wouldn't it have been more impactful if, after dealing with all this and then realizing that the Pikes were the ones who killed the Tuskens, Boba Fett is the one who goes in and takes them all out, right? Because Fennec was basically taken off the board for the whole battle of the episode to then kill them at the end, which could have just waited until after they survived that battle. Like it had no benefit. All it did was take their best fighter off the board.
But you know what?
The majority of the episode.
To be honest, though, I liked it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because in a sense, she did what she knew Boba wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Like literally, she did what she knew Boba would not do at all. And I like the simple fact.
But he should have been able to do it by the end.
But
he should have been in that place.
But he wasn't, and he's still not. And she know, bro. If you follow the entire,
I'm just saying, I think he should have.
He should have been. But if you follow like the entire season, she's always saw him as making questionable choices.
She does it so he doesn't have to.
Yeah, and the thing is, there was a lot of stuff she even said, because she didn't even agree about about the spice. She's like, wait a minute, this money to be made with that. But I knew why he did it, but she questioned it, but she went along with it. What she did with that, I loved. And I'm biased because I love Fennec, and that's my favorite. But what she did in that moment was something that she knew he would not do at all, because he would have and we already seen it. He tried to be more, he tried to show diplomacy, and it didn't work. And that's what he would have probably have done. She was like, no, we got to take these cats off the board. No more problems. I'm going to do it. Point blank, wash your hands. And we did get a touch of her. And I look, they have to release a Fennec hot toy with that speeder bike. I need that. But anyway.
Yeah. But Lael, your point speaks to the whole issue with the show. Like, Boba Fett should have been able to do that. Like,
I agree.
Because you know what?
But
Mando would have.
But the difference is, all right, so I want to go back a little bit. Real quick. Maya, to touch on what you said about, because I had this discussion with a friend of mine, and he brought up a very interesting point. He was like, look, I would have wanted to see Boba with the Tuskens, but if you're going to give flashbacks, give him flashbacks as his time as Boba with the other, with the Syndicate, or not with the Syndicate, but with the other bounty hunters, and things that he questioned then. So we can see basically that evolution from what he was in the past to what he is now. If we would have got an entire season of that, like his him going through with the Tuskens is, this, that, and the third. But the flashbacks of his time as Boba doing things that we never saw him do on camera, that would have been dope. Because then we see him evolve, and then we see his journey to Mos Espa, and then save that for the next season. That would have made more sense to me. Like,
Absolutely.
it really, really would have.
Or he reached out to the Tuskens, and they came to help.
Yeah.
I feel like 3 seasons and shoved them into 7 episodes. I feel like they're. I think the dissecting of this season is because in those 7 episodes, it feels like we didn't get enough of certain things, and certain things were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And absolutely, had they gone back and shown, like, when he walked upon a dead Tusken child, he flashed back to when he was standing over somebody who hired him to go kill someone's kid, and he just blew that kid away. And he started to see, like, the destruction he caused through multiple years of his life, and now he's reaping those same kind of karmic points. It would have built up. I really think that there is something that was done in the scripts where they had all of these stories, maybe 21 episodes, and for money or time or resources, they just decided to reduce them, and we're missing that. I do feel that, because listening to everyone's opinions on this, the one thing I keep hearing coming back to is there's certain things that you're missing to the critique, and I see it. I filled it in with myself, and I fill it in on my own. But I agree with what all of you are saying. Is I think there's stuff missing. It's there, but the evolution just wasn't explained, or what. But I'm reading here, and there's some great opinions. But I don't want to see in this series a Cad Bane, Boba Fett murder episode, dark series. I would love to see maybe a darker movie that they would release in R-rated Star Wars eventually, but I don't think they ever will. But yeah, I just don't get. I like that Finnick is kind of what you exactly said, is she is doing the things that he will no longer do. His Mr. French from The Departed. He does the dirty stuff, and I like that she does that. I thought that ending was, you said it earlier, Cece, that was one of the darkest moments in Star Wars. I mean, they literally hung a man, which, George Lucas had a rule that no blood, we never got to see any blood in Star Wars. And I was like, wow, they just hung the mayor from the ceiling.
And left him hanging there. Left him.
Yeah, and he's dangling in the background.
Then she stabbed somebody in the back and just walked out. Like, literally, like, it was incredible, because, again, she did what she knew Boba probably would not have done. And then it just goes to the confidence that she actually has in him, that she still questions certain things that he, as this person and what he wants to do. Like, okay, I know what you want to do, but do you have, because what he said was like, look, he needed intelligence, he needed the muscle, and that's what she is. But she's been around long enough to know that, okay, there are certain ways that you have to assert yourself, and there's certain things you have to do and get your hands dirty even though you don't want to. Like, literally, we see that every day with these effing politicians. But what I'm saying is, she knows that right now he's not at that point yet. He's not basically there yet. So she has to be that person behind the scenes to kind of make sure that that ship is running tightly enough. And I was even thinking, I was watching it too. I was like, it would have been dope if we would have got stories of young Boba and just heard it, but not seen, but heard Cad Bane's voice in the background. Just heard his voice. Not show him yet, but just heard him, telling Boba certain things that he has to do. Because, there's a hatred there for a while. But it would have made for so much good content at that point. I don't know. What did you like? I don't know. Like, we can sit up here and we can think that we're writers. Like we would like to say that we're writers and that we could actually write these stories. They're not giving us the budget. So, it is what it is. And we can always talk about what we think should have changed. But at the end of the day, they told the story that they wanted to basically tell. And that was it. They told the story that they wanted to tell. Hopefully, the one thing that was interesting, though, because we didn't get at the very end that there would be a season 2. You know what I mean? They didn't say anything about that. And I was wondering why, but, it would have made sense. But what do you think about one episode, like one scene in here that kind of sort of like teased me and pissed me off a little bit? As much as people didn't want it, it would have made sense to me more to have Luke bring Grogu back.
Yeah,
like,
I have an opinion about that.
He gave him an Uber. That was his Uber.
Okay, I get the astromech, man, and I get that R2 is intelligent enough, but we never seen a ship take off at all. I didn't see it. Maybe we did. I didn't see it. But he brings Grogu back. And I think those moments with Grogu in this episode, to me, it was what we want to say, fan service on a wrong path. It wasn't needed. We didn't need him basically taking down the Rancor and putting the Rancor to sleep and then falling to sleep next to him so we can create an adult.
Cute.
I know, and I know that's what everybody is saying. It was so cute. Even Toy was like, "Oh, it's so cute." I was like, "You just like Grogu," but it's just
that's exactly why they did it.
Yeah.
For me, it was too soon, and I felt like the timing of it, because Grogu still needed more time with Luke.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to see Grogu for like another few years, and I was fine with that. Like, even if it was 5 years from now, they brought him back. And then I also thought that it would have been great to have had an animated series with Luke and Grogu, rather than a live action. It's not that I'm against live action, but I thought that an animated series would kind of be fun to see that.
You can do an episode with CG Luke. You can't do
some kind of animation so that, it can satisfy whatever we want to see in regards to that. But
I never thought about that. That would have been crazy.
Yeah, they inserted him, and it was too soon. It was too much. That cliffhanger would have been great in another series. It wasn't needed now. Give us a Boba Fett cliffhanger. Why not him have that cliffhanger moment?
Yeah.
And the other thing that I was going to say is, I don't think Luke would have ever sent him alone like that. That's just me. That's how I feel. Luke said he would die to protect him, and there's still probably people with fobs trying to get Grogu. So it was confusing to see him come alone and CC3PO. You were correct in regard to that Uber style. I thought maybe he says, "Well, where is the Mandalorian now? He's in Tatooine." He's like, "Screw that! I'm not going to Tatooine." But of course, that's not anything Luke would do. He would have taken him personally, but that's okay. They didn't want Luke to go to Tatooine for some reason, and that's fine. But I personally don't think Luke would have done that. Now, when they first announced this series and they had said it was going to be the book of Boba Fett, I thought it was going to be the book that Jango Fett left for Boba, and that we would get these tales from the book, and the book would have, stuff in it from, this is what you do when you're at this planet.
There was no book. There was no book in the book of Boba Fett. And in some episodes, there was no Boba Fett.
I honestly thought that that's what this was going to be. So, I knew about the book. I had heard about the book. It was one of the things that his father had left him that was incredibly important to him becoming a bounty hunter, let's say, as an adult. And to kind of look at different hurdles in the book and say, well, I don't do that anymore. This is maybe, I got to change my life. Looking at this book, that was the most important thing to me. Now I have to go ahead and say, put the book down and, live my life a different way, and I want to have more meaning in my life. And that's what I thought we were going to get. And maybe we did. We didn't see those parts, to fill in, just like what you were saying, Mia. I mentally filled this in. He had to have this book, this is this is how, his rule of the bounty hunter, this book his father left him. He's very lucky that his father wrote this stuff down just to make sure that Boba would know what to do in the future. But Grogu deserved better. He wasn't ready to make that choice. It doesn't mean that anybody was mean to him. I'm just saying that the showrunner putting him in now, let him make this decision a few years from now. It wasn't needed for me, and I see, I love Grogu. I could talk about Grogu all night long, but, for me personally, I want what's best for Grogu, what's best for Din.
Did anybody think that it was weird that Luke put that choice to Grogu? Because Luke chose his connections to people like Han and Leia in Empire. He chose when Yoda was saying, no, stay here and keep drinking. He chose to go save them. Time after time, Luke chose the connections that he had to the people that he cared about and said he could still become a Jedi and do the right thing, but also care about and protect those people. And then, like, Mando just wants to drop off a little chainmail for Grogu, and now he's got to choose between Yoda's lightsaber or the chainmail, and it's like, if you pick that, then get the fuck out, you go back with Mando. Well, it's honestly, like, it seemed really inconsistent with who Luke is in the movies that immediately precede this show.
I don't have an answer for that, Brendan, but what I can say is that I think that what should have just happened is that Din could have just gone ahead and dropped off the thing for him, and Din should be visiting him on the planet like he does, like for Father's Day, for the holidays, for what's the holiday, the Star Wars holiday,
Life Day.
Yes, that day, you know, and just have that relationship. He knows that Din is always there. He doesn't have to kind of like escape right now. And Din could have just gone back to, and I'm sorry, Din could have just gone back to Tatooine and done this stuff.
No, but that's what's screwed up about Luke in The Last Jedi. That's the problem, because Yoda comes to him and says, you fool, you've been sitting around with these stupid books. These books screwed up the Jedi for thousands of years. This is not the teaching. And I think Luke is, as we can see, not a very good instructor. He ends up screwing up the temple and the legacy of the Jedi, because he went back to this old idea where you take them from their family. But there's the dichotomy, because Luke's got to figure out, because Ahsoka's pushing him. As you can see, Ahsoka's kind of in his ear saying, you have to give him the choice. You can't make him follow the path. She's actually the one that puts the choice up for Grogu into Luke's option, because she tells the Mando, this is about his choice, because she was forced into this. And so were a lot of younglings. And I think that is out of Luke's norm, because I think Luke would be like, no, you're now a Jedi and you're not going to see your family, and this is it. And I think that Ahsoka is kind of telling him, you have to give him those choices. And you have to let him decide what path he's on. He can always come back to that path. And I think that Luke is really, I know this is going to piss a lot of people off, but Luke was a really shitty Jedi. And I think he took that, the destruction of the temple, hiding away. I think he saw that in himself, like, I'm really not good at this. It needs to die. And he doesn't understand it because he wasn't around it and he didn't have that guidance. And I think Ahsoka has the guidance. She was at the temple and she has a different perspective. And I think that's where Luke is kind of having his issues as an instructor, because he wasn't a master. I know that's going to piss a lot of people off, but he isn't Master Luke. I mean, he kind of screwed it up. And I think he doesn't want to do that with Grogu. And there's nothing to say that Grogu might come back later to the temple. There's nothing to say that he might,
You've literally offended me just now. I mean, Luke's my guy, so I've
long said Ahsoka kicks Luke's ass any day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. We know this, and you got to also keep in mind that Ahsoka is basically speaking, and she's speaking from experience and what she experienced. On top of that, she's still slightly, and nobody can tell me I'm wrong. She still holds a lot of spite and resentment towards what the Jedi did, accusing her of something that she did not do, and basically giving up on her at some point, and then saying, okay, no, we know you were right, and this, that, and the third. And she's like, no, fuck that. I'm out. Too late. Because if there's something like this happens again, it's going to be the same resolve. So she still, and I think also she believes in the simple fact that, like you said, because she's part of the temple. She had been there for so long. She had studied under Anakin, and seen, this tragedy and everything that actually happened. She believes now in choices. She believes that choices should be given and should be provided, that we should not force these younglings into this. If they make a choice that they don't want to be a part of it and they want to go back, let them go. We don't force them and say, no, you have to stay. This is what you have to do, this, that, and the third, and just kind of snatching them up like a cult. You know what I mean? She's saying that choice should have actually been provided. So I get that. With Luke, he sees the simple fact that, okay, I made, even in me choosing to go save my friends, because even basically you might as well say that Yoda gave him a choice. He said, you can leave now, or, he did give him the choice and let him say, you can go, but this is what you stand to lose if you do that. So he presented the choice, but also told him the consequences of his choice, which in some aspects, some of that actually came to pass. And he went back, and I think he realized that. But there's a lot. And Luke is admitting, like, he's flawed. And he even talks about his hubris and the things that he actually saw. So I think that he knows that he effed up in certain aspects, but I think that was even part of his journey, his evolution. And we're seeing that. Real quick, though, before we move forward, I want to jump in and get through some of these super chats. We had a 449 super chat by Superhero Displays. Mario, great point about Pixar. However, if you move away from George Lucas's vision, it's no longer Star Wars. Love your collection, by the way. He's just flexing. He's just flexing.
No. Displays what I was talking about. I think I was talking about like writing in general.
Yeah,
I mean, how you can actually write a lot of the stories nowadays. You can actually write something that's for both audiences. Yeah, even though you do move away from George Lucas's vision, at the fact that it's only for kids, you can still write a compelling story for both adults and children. That's what I'm basically trying to say.
Yeah, and you can. I mean, definitely believe that.
If they couldn't, it would be a lot harder to be watching stuff like Encanto on loop in your house when you have kids. So you can write for young and old at the same time.
I still gotta watch that, man.
I still gotta watch it my damn self, bro, because everybody keeps talking about it.
It is so. It's precious. It's
I might watch it.
But you can watch it once. It's not just gonna be on in your house on a loop after that.
Oh, the music too.
Every time a new Disney movie comes out, my kids, it's just.
Yeah, but aren't you happy it's not?
Thank you, Disney Plus.
Yo, you said that with so much pain, bro.
Sounds like someone can't let it go.
You got quiet. Said it.
I wish to God they would let it go.
How's Bruno?
Yo, right.
Apparently, we don't talk about Bruno.
We don't. Bob Dylan with the $5 super chat. Of course, Luke would send a child alone. No one saw episode 3. The Jedi are totally okay with unaccompanied minors. Yeah, that's funny. That's super funny. Let me see what else we got. We got another.
Yeah, they're the worst babysitter club in the galaxy.
Yeah, they are.
Did Anakin just dump Ahsoka on a planet?
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, what are you gonna say, Cece?
One of the comments, I think it was One Pouch Man, was like,
yeah.
"Oh, you want to take the armor? Okay, I'm gonna have R2 just drop you off at the corner of Lincoln and Third across in the crack."
Yo, it's crazy because he didn't even go with him. It's like he was pissed off. He was like, "All right, you gonna take that? All right, cool. R2, fire up the jets, fire up the converters, get him out of here.
Drop you off in the outer rim.
He got you.
Basically, we're gonna drop you off in the projects.
Grogu was probably like,
he doesn't deserve it. Yeah.
Grogu was like,
let's put this
"What's up?"
He
was like, "Yeah, just be gone.
He gave him a
get out of my sight."
And a bus coupon.
Yeah, it just said, "Please be out." Like literally, but yeah.
Hey, but at least that quarter scale Hot Toys Mando looks amazing. So there's that. Yeah, you know you're gonna get it. You know you're gonna get it.
I'm not getting that quarter scale.
Yes, you are.
I'm not doing it, bro. I'm just telling you, I am not. I refuse. I have no reason to actually get it. I'm not going to do it.
10:52 p.m. Thursday, February 10th. Remember that. Remember when you said that.
Don't get it, man.
But this
You'll
picture
be
you
better
have up
without it.
there, Lael, is very cute. But
Which one?
like I said, the Grogu with the Rancor.
Yeah.
But I still honestly feel that his insertion into this, I love seeing him, yes. But
yeah. I just think that, like I said, they did it because, again, like everybody's saying, Grogu's the cute one, and they knew that audiences wanted to actually see him.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, all right, so we know now that he's going, like, the moment that should have been, treasured is the simple fact that we know now that he's going with Mando. That should have been enough. Like, literally, that should have been enough. He's going with Mando, so we know that both of them are reunited, and we're going to see more adventures of them in season 3. That should have been enough.
So
we didn't have
I
to
feel
see everything
conflicted
else
because of this. Because of course I want to see Grogu, but I feel conflicted because I don't think this is the best thing for him right now.
Mm-hmm.
But and then this doesn't mean that Din isn't going to take care of him. I just personally feel like it was too soon, and it's too soon for me. And I'm like, this is just how I personally feel. It does not mean that that is the actual truth.
I want Grogu and Moon Knight. I don't care.
maybe Grogu getting dropped off. Maybe Grogu getting dropped off should have been the post credit scene actually to lead that up into season 3 of Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have worked out a lot. That
could have been.
Because at the same time, I've heard some. I left for a second. I don't know if you guys talk about it, but it kind of like derails what Luke did in the end of season 2 of the Mandalorian. Like, what was the point then if Grogu's just going to leave?
He literally came back before the next season even starts.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no time gap in that. Yeah.
It messed with the pacing of the war, like the battle. It was like the stakes were higher because you realized he was there, but like the reunion of him jumping into Mando's arms, like I would have loved that in a calmer situation.
Yeah.
It felt more impactful as opposed to like it almost felt like sitcom-y, like slapstick, where it's like I know we've seen it in movies before, but it's almost like you're on the battlefield and like you go back to back with someone, you're like, whoa, and you're like, oh, hey, it's you, and like they hug in like the middle, and it's like, no, time and place. It's not the time, it's not the place.
It could have been like an end scene after he leaves Mos Espa and he goes back to what's her name's place, maybe for like a tune-up on his speeder or something, and Grogu is there waiting for him, and it's a nice reunion. He gets in there with him. They go fast. He goes, like that, and everybody's happy. It could have been just that simple.
Check it out.
And an unnecessary danger.
Check it out.
I'm not going to say any more about that.
My trainer who watched the show, was watching the show, he said, sorry, guys. He said, sorry, Lael, but check it out. The ladies are the MVP of the show. I'm just saying.
There's nothing to be sorry about that.
Y'all coming over here just wiping.
Wrong, man.
Hey, he's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong because the ladies be dropping some knowledge. We got a let's see here. They got a super chat, superhero displays, $1.79. R2D2 is Luke's ride or die. Trust in his Yo, that's the truth. I want it. That's what I'm saying. I want a 2-pack. I want a 2-pack of R2 and Luke. I really do.
Is there any language that Pele doesn't speak?
Yo, she does. She speaks a lot. Right?
Yeah.
She's getting a lot of hate. And I can't understand it because I
liked her character.
People hate her character so much. I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand it either. I think she's funny. I enjoy
she's
her.
funny as all hell. Like she's funny, and she grabbed the gun and she went to work. She did. Yo, when she lost that,
she spit it out like a chocolate too. She just.
But here's the thing, though. In the very next scene, it was back in her mouth. It was still there.
Yeah, well,
it was still there.
Battle, it was gone. The whole battle, it was gone.
Bro, when you
I thought it was gone.
Watch it go back and watch it. That tooth is not gone unless she just sparingly put it back in her mouth.
No, because when the mares do the Twi'lek, when he gets behind her and stuff,
it was gone.
Clearly, it was still gone. It was out.
I gotta watch it again because
no,
it was gone.
She picks it up.
Did she?
Yeah, she goes and like she has it because she goes digging for it.
Man, she's probably I don't know. She is wild though. She is definitely. Man, I guess it does. I mean, hey, they got the mod, so they can screw it
Yeah,
back
she'll
in. It's
just get
nothing.
she'll just get a cyber mod for
I want
for
a
Jawa
show
or something.
about Jawas dating.
I don't.
I
Okay.
want to know.
Some
who
things
the
need
hell
to
she
stay
was-
mysterious. I don't want to know where
Thank
they're
you,
carrying.
Susan.
Yeah, I think that's a bridge too far for me. Yeah,
That's a little rule
She can-
42 or whatever. Like I'm okay.
Maybe
with
put it in a
that.
comic or something.
that's like Ewok porn. I feel like it's just unnecessary.
Oh.
Like
So I'm going to talk about a moment that I hated, and I'm sorry, it's
haven't
just
we
me.
been doing that all night?
No, because there were moments that I loved, but I hated this. I literally hated this.
I agree. I agree.
I hated this because it should have been, if anything, if anything, Cad Bane deserved a bit more. But somebody did tell me to go back and watch it and listen, and they did have this little thing like it was still beating, like his heart was still beating or something like that. I heard it slightly, so I don't know. I guess, but this
How many
to
times
me,
are they going to do that?
that's what I'm
we
saying.
fake
Like
killed
bring people
everybody on
exactly,
the show, and they
bro.
all come back.
Like
See,
how many
Remember when Mo
times?
said no one's ever really gone, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you disliked it too, because I know I've been the advocate for the series, but I gotta say that was in the evolution of Boba. I was totally pissed because what I would have loved for his ass to be at the end in a jail cell, just mad,
Yeah,
this shit,
yeah,
sitting down there,
yeah.
and on the other side of the fence is a Rancor breathing at him, and I put him in the dungeon right across from the Rancor,
cool.
and none of his gear, and just had him pissed because.
Yeah.
I thought that was stupid. I hate the whole kill him and come back, or is he dead? And he is like the only true serial killer in Star Wars.
He's the perfect villain for Boba Fett.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you
He's
could
the
have
perfect
it
villain for
years.
Boba.
But I would have not killed him. I would have had him sitting in a cell down under the basement, sitting with the Rancor, and then Rancor just drooling, wanting to eat him, and all his gear out of there. And I would have had his hat hanging in the throne room. So
Or something like that, where he had to go back and get it. Okay, so Durio's anatomy, the heart isn't in the same place as a human. So, okay.
Now,
all right.
is that something that we're just kind of throwing out there just to try and justify, or is this like established in lore?
I'm gonna look it up.
Anatomy book. Let me check.
Someone
I'ma
also said that he had a chess box.
Yeah,
And you could see something going on with the chess box.
yeah.
Almost like
That's where you can hear. You can actually hear it as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's entirely possible that is a thing, but and maybe he's still alive, but I don't think any of those things are like established. I think those are people looking for a thing to try and cling to hope that he's still alive.
Right.
So like, because like, Boba Fett, the light that Boba Fett has on his chest armor, that doesn't mean anything as far as, whether or not he's alive.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, again, these are all plausible. They could absolutely be true. I just don't know if they are actually going to prove to be true, or if this is people just grasping at straws because we don't want Cad Bane, who is such a rich, villainous character, to die so quickly.
You know what would have been crazy though? Is at the end of the scene, like at the post credit scene, we just seen him walk up to the baptist tank and be like, "Apparently, I didn't have armor either. Are you done yet?" Straight up, that would have been dope. But we have a superhero displays $4.49 super chat again. Grogu can live nearly 100 years old and have 1,000 years old. I'm sorry, old and have sped up some of his evolutions somewhat. Methinks also that was the best Jedi moments. Which moments are you talking about in the Book of Boba? Are you talking about the scenes with Grogu? Or are you talking
training?
Or are you talking about the training?
Oh,
yeah. Let me know. Because that would definitely be interesting. I don't know. I mean, we can listen. It is, and I want to say this because there wasn't a lot of. There was a lot of good that I saw. I mean, look, Boba riding the Tusken was dope as shit. I mean, not the Tusken, the Rancor was dope as shit. I love that. I love the simple fact that we got a chance to see something like that, because we know in the history of the Mandalorian, they've been known to, ride great beasts, you know what I mean, to rival in wars with great beasts. So to see him do that, it was dope. I really, 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 really loved that scene, and I loved every scene with the Rancor. Like, I was like, yo, that was really, really dope.
We got Danny Trejo in Star Wars. I mean,
Thank
that
you.
right there
Cement that,
is
man.
phenomenal. I want more Danny. I'm mad that we only got him for that one scene. I want more Danny Trejo. But I mean, I also dug all the flashbacks. Like those, I thoroughly enjoyed. I know people were like, "There's too much at the beginning." I really enjoyed those, man. Those were actually some of my favorite parts of the show.
When they mentioned that the Night Sisters rode Rancors, I thought we were going to see a Night Sister.
Yes.
So I got very
Don't
excited.
name drop those and then not give it to us.
I believe we're going to see Night Sisters in Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Okay, I got a question.
Or the Acolyte.
Yeah.
I had a question for everyone on the panel and everyone in there. What do we think Grogu's first words are going to be?
Hungry.
Mando.
See,
Mando's probably.
You know it's coming, right? They're going to do
eggs.
it.
Frogs. Yeah.
Sorry, I ate your babies.
Sorry, I ate your babies. That's probably it. I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see, but then again, you're going to get a lot of people that don't want the evolution of Grogu. They don't want him to get older. There's going to be a lot of people that just love him as that child.
You think he'll start talking backwards off the bat, or was that just specific to
I
Yoda?
don't want him to talk in riddles.
Yeah.
I want him to be himself.
Yeah, we need to find out. Is that going to be like every one of the species, or is it was Yoda just
Leo,
an eccentric?
Yo,
Superhero Displays just responded to your question about what was the best Jedi thing. The Rancor mind tricks is what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Grogu putting the Rancor to sleep.
Right.
Got that.
I don't know if I would classify that as the best Jedi moment, because he basically Crocodile Dundee'd the Rancor. For anybody who's old enough to know Crocodile Dundee, when he like puts the to sleep there, in the outback. I mean, like he basically Crocodile Dundee'd the Rancor. So I don't know if I would say that's the best Jedi moment.
We did see that before
in Rebels.
Yeah,
so I like that, because like Kanan went through this whole thing with Ezra about teaching him how to. Well, I think he had to go through it as well. Maybe after he was blind.
Those spiders.
With those spider things we saw, and then we saw him again in Mando. So it's not.
It's not foreign.
And then
it's
Ezra with the space whales that ended up, taking out my boy Ron. So we've seen it multiple times. So I think it kind of harkened back to stuff we already knew, which was nice.
I mean, and here's the thing: like, we know it can be done, and it's dope that it is, but I think bringing that into the book of Boba was like, okay, you're taking somewhat what they did, like they've taken some of the focus away from what we want to see from Boba and putting these moments in where they could be held and separated and provided in season 3. Like, we can see more of that in season 3, because we're going to see more of that adventure with Grogu. I don't know, look, it's there and we know it can happen. My point is, and it's not saying it's not a great moment, it's just the simple fact that I just didn't think it was needed in the book of Boba. That's all. Right. Like, it wasn't needed. I wanted to, being a Boba Fett fan, and you're right that all of us, and even like, when I talked to Toy about it, and she was talking about it last week, Boba in the original trilogy didn't say much, and it was not much focus on him. And I think that they were carrying a lot of that into even the season. But I'm like, okay, I get that, but why? Because it's supposed to be about Boba. The central focus is Boba. So we want to see more from him. And I guess they're warming us up to see more. I mean, we're definitely probably going to see him, in season 3 of Mandalorian. We'll have to see him again one more time, because like I'm telling you, I think that season 3, there's going to be some type of, battle on Mandalore. They're going to go back.
Oh, 100%. I flat out said I think that that season 3 of Mando is going to be a next level, like, Siege of Mandalore. Like, it's going to be we're going to see Bo-Katan, we're going to see, Koska Reeves, Act Wolves, we're going to see, I think Boba's coming in. I think Sabine is going to be there. I think that the 3rd season of Mando is, if it ends up being the last one, I don't know. Or if it's not, if the 4th one is the last one, then maybe it'll build in this season. But in this 3rd season, I think we're getting to the point where we're coming to another Siege of Mandalore, like all-out, full-scale war on Mandalore.
Do we know if Mandalore is still actually under Imperial Remnant jurisdiction?
I believe so.
There's
Yeah, 'cause
probably
didn't
an
we see it in
Empire
Rebels?
remnants there.
Yeah, we did see it in
Okay.
Rebels.
Yeah, because I'm curious. No, I'm just curious. I mean, who would they be sieging against? Were they with each other, or
I think that's what the theory. Like,
my
my fan theory has always been Thrawn, because Thrawn kind of like in the
that would make
Empire
sense.
trilogy, he kind of like scraped up what was left of the Empire. So what I'm thinking is he's been like on Mandalore, ruling over Mandalore, trying to kind of like Moff Gideon, like scraping up what's left of the Empire and trying to do
But
some backstory.
that's how they're going to wrap Ahsoka into season 3 of
Yeah,
Mandalorian.
I wouldn't be surprised if Thrawn is the one that Moff Gideon was doing his bidding for.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
they're going to wrap that in, so Ahsoka's big villain's going to be
Actually,
Thrawn.
Maya, don't you think that would make more sense to do that in Ahsoka show? To have like Thrawn be the actual antagonist instead?
Exactly, but
He
she's
is.
going to find out that planet is still under his control. She's not going to defeat him, and then she's going to help go get some Mandalorians that maybe help her with the siege or something. But I think that there's going to be some overlap where, because she said something to Luke, like perhaps, like, will I see you again? And she said perhaps and stuff. I think there's going to be some type of overlap with Thrawn, Mandalore, and the Mandalorian.
There's also going to be infighting between the Mandalorians.
Yeah,
because
he has to go to
they're going to be fighting over the Darksaber. We already know that Bo-Katan wants it, but so does Paz Vizsla.
He has to go to the mines. He has to cleanse himself.
And Lake Minnetonka.
Right, but you know that there's going to be conflict between like the armorer and that sect of like who follow the creed like specific to a T, and then the people that like Bo-Katan who are born Mandalorians who don't subscribe to that. So there's going to be a power struggle there in addition to them dealing with whoever is left from the Empire on there. That's why I think it's going to be a massive. I think this is like this is their like Infinity War and Endgame. This is their big thing that they're building to. So we don't know which show it's going to be completely resolved in. Most likely Mando. But I think this is all going to kind of like pull together at some point.
I want to see this siege. Actually, when he goes to cleanse himself, I want to see a purple Mandalore walk up and it takes off his helmet and his prince, and he just goes cleanse.
No. He's gonna be like, that wasn't Lake Minnetonka.
That wasn't
lake. That's what he's got to say.
That'd be crazy.
Do you have any idea of who the armorer is? Does anybody want to?
No, I mean there were theories going around.
She's the only one who doesn't have a name other than the armorer.
Yeah, I hope they don't reveal that because I love the mystery of the
character. I hope she's just her own person.
I don't want them to dilute it like they did with Boba Fett. I mean,
I would.
Just leave it a
want
mystery.
Exactly. We got a $1.79 super chat by Superhero Displays. I wasn't mad at Boba v Cad because I know Cad Bane lives. # Cad Bane lives. Hey.
That's the thing. Part of me hopes he does too, but at the same time, it's cheap when it's like, all right, we're gonna kill Cobb Vanth, but we're not gonna kill him. We're gonna kill Cad Bane, but we're not gonna kill him. You know what I mean? Especially when this whole show was built on a character who was killed.
You're never gonna believe anyone is dead.
Yeah, it's like there are no consequences.
Superhero Display.
Get us some Bosk. I'm done with Cad.
You want some Bosk? Yeah, give us some more. I mean, because there's room for it now. They know people want it, so why not? We got a $4.49 super chat again by Superhero Displays. The Grogu moment was pure Jedi. The space between violence and peace, balance in the Force. Stop dropping the mic on me, bruh. Stop. But I mean, literally, I mean, it. Now, my question is, so if we're taking this back to Mandalore, and Cece, you think it's Thrawn. So you think basically that Thrawn is holding Ezra there?
I think so. Yeah.
Ooh.
But like you guys said, I don't know how it fits in because obviously like we know the mic drop from Mando where Ahsoka was like, where is Thrawn? So we know Thrawn still exists. So like you said, I don't know if they're going to introduce Thrawn in Ahsoka. That's what most people have been assuming. Or if in Mando trying to kind of like find redemption in the mines and that sort of thing, he stumbles upon the fact that Mandalore is overtaken and he gets his wild hair where he's like, you know what, I'm going to help. I want to take back Mandalore. I want to help bring it back to the people. And that's when Ahsoka kind of gets roped in maybe. But yeah, I certainly hope that they're utilizing Thrawn in that way. And even there was a few Easter eggs in that episode where those, I think they weren't assassin droids, but they looked like it. They had the Seventh Fleet logo on the sides of their heads. So it certainly implies that if Thrawn is there, he has resources that you'd expect from someone who's trying to bring back the Empire.
Yeah, plus you have to remember too that I mean, Ahsoka wants to go after Thrawn. She wants to find him. She wants to find Ezra. And the other element to that, especially, and I agree with you, I think that he's probably holed up somewhere on Mandalore, is that you've got Sabine Wren with Ahsoka. They've already cast her. We know she's part of the Ahsoka show. So having her, she already has a vested interest in Thrawn, Ezra, and Mandalore. And she's actually held the Darksaber before. So there's a lot to rope her into the whole thing. So, yeah, I absolutely think that, that Thrawn, Ezra, Ahsoka, and Sabine Wren are all going to play a role in whatever big battle goes down in the season of Mando on Mandalore.
Do you think maybe after that season we'll see somebody duke it out for that Darksaber now that Sabine is in it? I mean, because originally she had given it to
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I think that's going to be a
she
big...
shouldn't.
I think there's going to be an all-out war for that Darksaber. Yeah.
I think also...
she'll lose it, and whoever picks it up is going to fight Bo-Katan. Because she has to win it in combat, and she's not going to fight the Mando for it. So I think whatever happens, he's going to lose it, or he's going to drop it, and someone's going to pick it up, and then that person's going to have to battle... Sabine or Bo-Katan. But I don't think we're going to see him pick it up again.
And I think there's going to be a lot of angry people. There's going to be a lot of people angry even at Sabine's choice to give it away when she shouldn't have. Like, literally.
That's why I think, I think that Bo-Katan and Sabine's time in the sun has ended as far as, like, their chances of being, like, Mandalore's savior. I think Mando is that kind of, I'm hoping that he's kind of, because he's the only one, I guess you could argue that Sabine has never really wanted to be like the voice of Mandalore. I think with her family, she seems like a more likely candidate to be in that position, kind of like Bo-Katan. They have a lot of heritage behind them, but I think I like the idea of Mando being that person because he doesn't have a lot of heritage behind him. He was a foundling. Yeah. And now here he is with Grogu and who obviously has the Force behind him, and I think he's showing a lot more compassion towards Grogu and that whole his commitment than even the armor is kind of instructing him on. It's almost like he's following the creed, but he's taking it just a little step further. So I'd love to see someone like Mando who doesn't really have any delusions of grandeur to be the savior that Mandalore needs. That being said, I'm going to be devastated when my guy Thrawn, gets.
But doesn't the ruler of Mandalore still have to have been a pure Mandalorian? I thought they had to be born on the planet. They had to be Mandalorian blood.
I think
it used to be, but that can change.
Yeah.
And how much time has passed? Like, we're running out of pure Mandalorians, and also I've never been one who's like, you have to have midichlorians, you have to be genetically disposed to this. Like, I hated that. There's a few things obviously that were issues with the sequels, but I liked the idea that Rey's parents were nobody before they turned it into she's a Palpatine. Yeah. Kind of like we said this before with, do we want Mando to be like Force sensitive? No. I want him to be as average as possible. Kind of like, I'm a big Batman fan. Like, I just want someone who has a good heart and it's in the right place and doesn't have any special abilities, doesn't have the Force, just wants to help their people and live by their beliefs. I think that's Mando, and there's no like he doesn't want to rule for the sake of ruling. Like,
I think he's going to be in the middle of the old school, Bo-Katan and the on planet born Mandalorians, and then the like sect that is they're kind of what they called like religious or like very specific to the way and and don't remove the helmet. I think he's going to be caught in the middle. I'm calling it right now. I think Bo-Katan's going to die. I 100% think that she's either going to get killed by Thrawn, or she's going to be that good character who goes too far and is like, I have to get the dark saber at any cost so that I can lead my people, and that makes her being willing to challenge Mando for it, and he kills her.
So she's going to be a Daenerys.
Heart by heart.
But I think well, unless she sleeps with her nephew, but I think that one way or another, Bo-Katan is going to die, because I do agree with what you said. I think her time has passed. I think she's going down.
She is the cautionary tale, and also, I think that because the armorer said that, and I agree with you. It's been it's been too long since I've watched the Clone Wars, but I think she made a lot of really bad decisions. Yeah. She was straight up against her own sister, and
her sister's dead. I mean,
like she, she wasn't all 100% a hero in the Clone Wars. So I don't know why we would expect her to suddenly be this like altruistic leader all of a sudden when she blew her, she shot her shot and she blew her shot. And so I do think that something bad might happen with that. But I think that Bo-Katan, her only interesting aspect to being in the show is going to be to cause conflict, not necessarily to be like a savior, if you will.
Yeah, that's interesting. Toya said perhaps every woman who assumes the position in the armor abandons her name and previous identity. That would be something dope. Like
isn't she a priestess? I mean, she's like a priestess. I thought they referred to her too.
I don't know. Like she's something.
I don't recall that.
She's
something. Their weapons are their religion. And she's like the priest. She oversees, because it's like a church.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was a priestess.
Does that see what you just said about like weapons or their religion? Does it make sense to you? I was very confused by the fact that they've flat out said it, and I think he even said it when he had to like put all his weapons in the lockbox on the train or whatever. Weapons are my religion as a Mandalorian, right? But then. In that episode that was all Mando, when he goes to see the armorer and Heavy Mando, and she's like, Beskar is only supposed to be used for like armor, for defense. It's not supposed to be used to forge weapons. It's like, well, that doesn't seem like it lines up perfectly with your weapons are our religion. But then also remember, she used Beskar to make the whistling birds. For him in the first season, so they can make weapons out of Beskar. I don't know. That caught me.
But she said
as
she
like,
did say for defense, right?
The whistling birds are very much an offensive measure.
I mean, you have to kind of defend yourself, and then also because there was a lot of people who were questioning why she would say that, but then get melt down the Beskar spear, and I'm like, well, that's because the spear wasn't made by a Mandalorian.
Then they should have used that excuse. She didn't say
it wasn't made by a Mandalorian because she didn't know who made it. She just knew that he got it from somebody else. But like, she specifically said Beskar is not to be made into a weapon. It's supposed to be for defense. It's supposed to be for armor. But you made the whistling birds out of the whistling. I'm sorry, that is offense.
He's never used
you get shot by one of those things, it ruins your day.
He's never really used them offense. He only used them defensively when he had to.
It's a last resort.
It's like a last,
Well, they say that, but then it's just like, this is a very sacred weapon. Like, use it wisely, and then it's like pew 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 pew. Like we see them everywhere.
Come on.
I made a meme a couple weeks ago because it's exactly that. I showed like the armor sitting there, and she's like, use these sparingly. The next scene is like, so I came out shooting.
I used them all.
And that's when it came out blasting.
I was going to start with this.
Because apparently you can't shoot one whistling bird, too. Like, if you fire them, you shoot, like, all, 10 of them or however many you have. So it's kind of hard to conserve those.
Yeah. They jump out of the tunnel in the last episode, and the first thing he's done is, like, boom! He's, like, shot him off.
Well, Mike has a good point. I guess that makes sense, because I was trying to think back to Rebels, where like we found out Sabine made that weapon that specifically targeted Beskar, and how like disgusting that was to Bo-Katan, obviously, because of how important their Beskar armor is to them.
Yeah.
So yes, it's like it makes sense logically to make a weapon out of Beskar, But if you know the only thing that can pierce Beskar is Beskar, then why would you make a Beskar weapon? Because that implies that you're going to use it against fellow Mandalorians. And they're so against, you know, they had so much Civil War, they'd rather not.
But that would include whistling birds, wouldn't it?
But
I don't know.
It's just tricky though, because it's with those again. I think that is a defensive. It would be considered a defensive weapon because he never really used it actively. You know, unless he is on the defense, if he's defending himself, and if it's like a horde of individuals or stormtroopers or whatever around him, it's a last resort weapon. You know, when they're cornered, it's not actively using it.
Principle of defense instead of offense. I think it's more like you save them because if you need to use them, you try. It's a valuable weapon, so you try and use everything else you have. I mean, this is just nitpicking at nerdy shit.
But listen. So basically, what did we say? You know, basically, people who get licenses to carry firearms, they're doing it because what? I'm defending myself, right?
Unless you're Texan.
True.
I'm joking. If anyone's from Texas, I'm fucking with you. So.
I was trying so hard not to say that all episode.
Superhero displays $1.79. Charlie the Unicorn makes a great point. What did he say?
Yeah, you gotta let us know.
Was that whistling birds can't hurt Mandalorian armor?
Let me see. Or
is that afterwards?
I like that.
Or whistling birds can't hurt Mandalorian armor.
Whistling birds can't kill Mandos, but a spear can.
That's what I'm thinking.
Has that been established? How do we know that though?
Well, the whistling birds are more like explosives, aren't they?
They're like explosive bullets, basically.
They're like piercing, explosive, whatever, but it can't be used against.
Are they explosive on contact, or are they meant to pierce and then be explosive?
I mean, again, they literally never, like, the whistling birds were introduced in this show. We've watched this. They've never actually, so and like, we all just like to geek out about geeky shit, so there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like that's like, this is what I think, not, well, this is established in it.
No, because the armor says, I'm going to give you the coolest shit in Star Wars, and I'm going to give you the coolest weapon, but don't use them.
Yeah.
We are beating a dead tauntaun here, I must say.
So listen, my guy Max Salinas, my boy Lael, blessings, brother, blessings to you, my guy. He said, "Hey guys, do y'all think Maul will show up? He had the biggest villain role in Clone Wars. Eager to hear your opinion. I hope not.
No, I think we need to let him go.
He's officially dead this time.
I hope not. I don't want them to do that. I don't. Yeah. I don't, because like I said, I mean, again, like we just said, beating a dead tongue. It's like I don't want that. He had it would be a disservice to his death and how he died.
We've had great stories with him. We don't,
exactly. It was a fitting death between him when he died in the arms of his adversary, of an enemy, because at that time he made peace with it. He made peace with his death, and I love that.
I'll add one thing though. We are going to see, I think, in Kenobi, I believe we'll see a live action version of the comic book Death. I think that death was so haunting to Kenobi and it affected him so well. I think at some point we're going to get the flashback to that, or a real live action version of it.
Maybe
the comic book Death?
But he didn't.
No, the cartoon.
No, the one
the cartoon.
Oh,
okay.
On Rebels.
No, I think we'll see fire in the desert, and we'll see everything that happened at that moment.
Maybe they will
necessary.
just because not everyone has seen the animated shows.
We have, but I don't think people that would be tuning in to watch a
that's what I just said. Yeah, like I don't.
The show though,
it might mess up pacing, and also I don't know why they would show.
Plus, you're gonna be
having a flashback to him killing Maul, but
they're gonna have flashbacks to Vader.
Please, no more flashbacks. Can we just stop the flashbacks, y'all?
Well, no, I don't think it's going to be a flashback. I think it's going to be actually Vader in the
still
present
alive in
of
his
the show.
Yeah, exactly.
But Anakin, I have a feeling they're going to go back to the Anakin stuff. I think.
I wouldn't mind that, to see more Hayden Christensen between him and Obi-Wan and Banner, and conversations that they might have had before, because you already know, because there is, even with Obi-Wan, a level of guilt.
Yeah.
You know, that he's holding on to, thinking that he is basically, because like he said, Anakin, I failed you. And he's still holding on to that guilt, that level of guilt. So I think that we might see a flashback between them two. he's flashing back to the moments of things that he probably would have wanted to change. I just do not want to see a flashback. The reason why, if they flash back to that moment, still, to me,
You mean the moment with Maul?
With Maul, and I don't want it because
I don't want it, but I think they're going to do it.
I hope not, because the thing is, it would take so much away from that moment, and that moment was important because it was almost as if, Maul can say, look, I can finally rest knowing that even if I don't kill the Empire, somebody else will. If I don't kill Palpatine, somebody else can, and somebody else will fulfill that level of destiny. Anakin couldn't do it. He was the one who everybody thought was the chosen one. Now we have somebody else. So I just don't want that moment taken away from him, because I think that was amazing. Now, if we get the only way that I can actually, the only place I can see Maul coming back is in Andor. That's it. I could see him actually as part of, the Syndicate, everything that we know basically about, his dealing with the underground crime scene. I can see that,
Crimson
happening.
Dawn should have been on Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, they should have. That
would
have been a dope opportunity.
And bring Kira in.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see more of Kira's story. I want to see, maybe we see her on, on Andor, or maybe we see her on Kenobi. That would be really cool, but that would at least, I would have carried more weight than the way that they handled the Pikes on this.
That's why I'm looking forward to Andor more than any of the series, because I think we're finally going to get off of Tatooine. Because Kenobi's another book of Kenobi. And it's just
And Rogue One is my all-time favorite piece of Star Wars content, film, TV, it's.
And the cinematographer is still doing the same thing. He's actually working on this.
But I want some world building. I want some spreading out. I want to learn about the rebellion from the rebellion. Without
I agree.
Skywalker story.
I definitely agree with that. All right, real quick, because we're going to wind down on this, man. We've had to hit beyond the 2-hour mark. But it was good content, though. That's why I was so happy about it. Superhero displays, with that $79. The spirit can kill Mandos, the birds can't. Yeah, they talked about that. So I guess that's basically been something that we know. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, guys, it's been a great, great episode. Maya, thank you for joining us tonight. It's such an honor to have you here. The ladies come through as always. Hashtag CC, hashtag Maya, hashtag like, come on, man. The ladies come through and they just deliver. And I expected it. You know what I mean? I think the guys, we gotta step our game up. We gotta step our shit up next time, man.
No. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, me too, bro.
I'm good.
I love it. You know what it is, bro? Because
it's just good. I can't carry everything all the time, so it's nice to have some support.
I knew this motherfucker was going to say that. I just knew that was coming. Superhero, come on, man. What's up, bro? I guess I love it all. Hardly anyone agrees with me. I agree with a lot, man. It's because I know all this does and will connect the world building. I can't see the track being laid. He said I can see the track being laid. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think it's going to happen, man. Like I said, look, I love the input. I love basically that we all have, our ideas and our opinions on certain things. That's what kind of makes the show rotate. So I love that, man. What do you have coming up next?
Coming up next, on Friday afternoons, you can find me on Midnight's Edge at 12 p.m. Eastern with Tom and Andre and Cameron Pasha. And of course, on Friday nights, I'll be streaming with you again, Lael, on the Burn Network. On Sunday morning is at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find me on my show, on my channel, Positive Fandom, with my show called Sunday Brunch, where we talk about everything that's going on in the fandom. On Monday nights, you can find me streaming with Lorena Creole on Toxic Femininity. And on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you can find me oftentimes on the 1/6 scale Man Network.
Yes.
Either on Say What or on Uncivilized Scoundrels.
Yes. So if you haven't already, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. You know where to find her. Always a pleasure to have you here. Mr. Butt Naked, hashtag Julio. What's up, brother? Besides the simple fact that we got a show coming up on Saturday. What's up?
Justice for Coolio. That's never going to die, by the way.
No,
Just
it's
everybody
not.
go
You
back,
started it.
can
You
go
you
back
did
and watch
that.
the Daredevil director's cut. And
Yeah.
you're gonna, see Coolio
And I'm surprised. I
realize it
bet you
changes
people have
everything.
already done that shit. So you might.
I
As
know
well.
people have.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting for CC to mail me that Netflix Daredevil script, by the way. But
I don't remember
I know
any
you've
of
been
that.
busy,
So
but
strange.
you can. It's okay. I'm patient. You can get it to me when you can. No, so I guess we're gonna do a little something new tomorrow night.
Yes.
Figure Flex Friday tomorrow at 10.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll do that, and then Saturday.
Inspired by Mario.
And then Saturday we'll have you and I, just the two of us, going into a deep dive into Spidey, all things Spidey, No Way Home, and then kind of comic lore. And then I think, and then we got comic book talk on Monday night, continuing with Black History Month. So yeah, it's been a good stretch.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. CC, what do you have going on? What's coming up for you?
So we have group therapy tomorrow night where we just talk about the expensive Star Wars shit we buy. To the detriment of our families, our well-being, our welfare. Yeah. And then I think we are working on a collector's spotlight where we'll go through someone's Star Wars collection next week, but I think we're hammering out the details on that one. And we're definitely excited to come Kenobi on, May 25th. We're going to be watching it live, just like we did with this series. So if you want to catch me at a god-awful early hour of the morning with my guys on Rogue One 6 talking about it, feel free to catch us over there. But yeah, it's a fun time. And occasionally you'll see me obviously here, as long as I'm invited here, I'll be
What
here.
do you mean? Why do we have to invite you? Like, you're always on the show. So what do you mean if we invite you? Mario, will you tell her? Can you talk to her?
You're part of this now, all right?
Can you?
You're here.
I mean, can you talk to her?
I'm in
like,
too deep.
Exactly.
Can you talk to her?
She knows. She knows. She's just being modest.
Whether we do it bi-weekly or weekly, I'll do my best to be here.
I'm gonna start. Hey, I'm gonna start just dragging people in, and then we have this knowledge, because it took me. It's like I thought it was gonna be pulling teeth getting Maya on here, because she has a lot going on. But yeah, I must have hit it. I must have struck a positive nerve.
CC, you're just like on the sitcom where there's like the neighbor who never knocks. You just walk in now.
Yeah,
whenever you want. You just come on in.
Just come on in.
You're Agatha, dude.
We're at that level.
It was always Agatha.
But yeah, that's Rogue One 6 is kind of my home. So if I'm not there, you can catch me here.
Definitely. So yes, come on, man.
And maybe Mario's channel. So
absolutely.
I certainly want to be on your show, talking statues and Star Wars and all the, like I said, the stuff that screws up my credit score. Hey,
maybe we'll do something tailor-made just for Prince. Maybe we could chat about it.
Yo.
Cool.
Wait, Prince, Prints, or Prince as in like Purple Rain Prince?
Both.
With the T.
I'd be down for both.
Art Prince.
Art Prince. You know what it is. But yes, CC, you're always here. And if you haven't already subscribed, here's your chance. Do it now. Come on, man. There's so much info, and she's such a great person, and everybody loves you here. So glad you're here. Maya, what's up? Talk to me. What you got going on?
So perfect. I have a Facebook group called Geeks Will Inherit the Earth.
Yes.
And what's really cool about it is there's so much toxicity within geek culture, and especially for the LGBTQI. And so I created a safe geekdom where it's, we still have fun, we still curse and fuck around, but the most important thing is we want to make sure that you have a safe space where you can feel comfortable talking about some of the issues, because unfortunately when we can't all live inside like Star Wars Celebration where we always find our people and we just get there, and I found, especially in the 6 scale groups, that there is a lot of times a negativity, not just for women, but women in the LGBTQ community. And so I hoping that this is a space, especially for people that are just coming into collecting, that they know that they're not alone, that there are others, because you have been one of the voices for LGBTQ, including myself with you, and as a really good friend.
Yeah.
But that's a one-off. That's the 1 in 25 where we can really find a safe spot. So it's just a spot for people to feel okay, and it's growing. It's getting more followers and stuff. But I just found for myself, especially when I've been in 6-scale collecting for about 17 or 18 years with Sideshow. And when I first started, I was maybe I was in the Sideshow booth at the cons, and I was the only woman in line, and it was weird, because but not to say that I want the men to come too. It's just I think they want a safe space so they can have fun and just talk the topics instead of stuff that gets said. And I just felt that maybe creating a safe space. So that's jumping into Instagram, Geeks Will Help Inherit the Earth. On Facebook, it's got Instagram starting. And then you'll see me around doing photography. And I want to thank the panel for allowing me to be a big mouth and coming on this week.
Will you come back? Will you come back?
I will come back whenever you let me.
Yes, we definitely want you to come back, and I just want to look at the collect because the women they show up. If it's not CC I'm telling you right now, do not.
And you call me flexing.
Look, we're doing the same thing.
Look at their flex. With the Grogu. Got the Grogu behind us. Like the women have come. This is what I want. Like I really love creating an environment where we have women who collect and women who can actually show up and show out. That's what it is all about, man. Like literally.
Damn, look at that.
Look at that, bro. Like seriously. Like
that's a 77, by the way.
Original? Wow.
I don't fuck around.
Dude.
No, I'm joking.
Such a nice voice, but I don't fuck around.
Oh, come on.
The Vader, that actually out of here, I'll tell you what the coolest thing is, real quick.
Yeah.
Is this
She flexing, man.
Shitty Sideshow R2. Because, and I have to display it backwards. Because.
Oh, is it signed?
By Kenny.
Nice.
Oh,
wow.
I
Yeah,
loved
that's awesome.
that. Yeah, it was so cute.
Oh man.
He's sitting there, and it was right about it had to be about 11 weeks before he passed. So it was like almost 3 months before he passed, and he was so sweet and one of the nicest men ever. And then we went to dinner, and he was at the hotel with his son or nephew, and they were just really nice and just a gracious, really sweet man. And so I love that because, but I have to display it backwards. So,
Lael, it's still Thursday. She started Figure Flex Friday early.
Sorry.
Hey, right? Nope. Hey,
we still got 20 minutes until it's Friday.
We do got 20
us.
minutes. Hey, Maya, I got to get you on Figure Flex. You know that, right?
Oh shit.
I got to get you on Figure Flex. You know that, right? So,
yeah, of course.
Figure Flex Friday is a thing, and it's happening tomorrow night. Inspired by that guy next to you, Maya. That guy right next to you, Mario. Who likes to flex all the time.
Because Mario and Lael
I'm covered
up
right now. I ain't flexing nothing. I'm covered up right here, bro.
Mario and Lael were talking, and Lael was like, Mario, you got to help me out. I just feel like I'm not streaming enough. I think I need to add another stream to my schedule.
Yeah.
What do you think? And then Mario came up with the idea.
There you go, man.
He's on More Than Friends.
Yo, I'll take that. I'll take that.
It's a beautiful
Love
thing.
a good origin story.
I'm trying
friend's money.
I'm trying to be one of the hardest working guys on streaming. Nah, I just love this, man. I love it. I love it a lot, and I meet people, like you guys, and I just have so much fun doing it, and it just keeps me grounded. And I love meeting people because I can't like we talk about all the time. Like I can't go outside my door and talk to even some of my friends who are geeks. I can't talk about collecting with them. Like I can't. it's not something that we're in that wheelhouse with. And, you know, just to get on here and just reach a broader audience, I love that, man. I can't take away from it. So anyway, come on, man. You know what it is. Like Geek Shall Inherit the Earth on Facebook and IG, and, you know, of course, Maya rules. Come on, man. All my friends, everybody
Thank you
here.
so much.
Everybody on here rules, including Mario. What's up, my guy? Now, listen. Let me tell everybody out there, and I'm just going to continue to say this. Mario came up with the name of the show. Mario's brother wrote the actual song. He actually came and produced the track of the show. That just shows commitment, and on top of that, he's a true Star Wars fan. And like I can never do this show without Mario. Like literally, if he's not going to be on the show, I'm not doing it. Like just plain and simple. That's just how it goes. We ride or die like that. So Mario, thank you for being here.
This
He's
is
my
the team.
what?
This is the team
He's
thing,
your
man.
R2.
It's definitely a T thing. Like I don't do this show, and I will never do this show without Mario. If Mario's saying, "Look, I got shit going on, I can't be on," then I'm out. You know what I mean? We'll schedule it next week, unless he says, "Look, no, I want you to go on." Other than that, like I'm not doing it without Mario being here. Mario, so congratulations to the show that you got your channel jumping, bro. So happy
man.
about that. So my
Thanks,
thing is, like, everybody, listen. So between you, and everybody else here who has a channel, we're gonna get if you haven't already basically hit 1,000 subscribers, and if you aren't already monetized, we're getting people there. Like literally, subscribe to everybody that you see on this panel, man, because there's great content come from channels, groups, what have you. And we just do this for y'all. And the more people we can, especially like this, it's like a dream come true, man. So literally, come on, let's make it happen. Let's make that happen. But yeah, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, man. So like you just mentioned, this channel's still in its infancy. Still trying to come up with some ideas as far as what I want to do as far as streaming wise. I've got a stream in the works. I'm thinking it's next Saturday morning. Or early afternoon. Putting something together for Marco and Gigi over at 16 Fix. We're going to talk statues because they're extremely statue curious right now. So I'm going to have a couple friends over from the dark side that will see if they can help persuade them over it a little bit. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm still trying to work on these, get a full-on collection tour going. And that's pretty much it right now. Saturdays, I'm with Anthony over at 6 Cal Mafia.
Yes.
We're doing our polls reviews. We're basically just taking older figures and Star Wars figures pretty much for the year. And we're just giving our own retrospective on some of these older figures. Like right now, we're going through the Rogue One line, and we're about to finish it up pretty soon. And I think after that, we'll be going through the New Hope figures. So that's going to be pretty fun.
That's going to be dope.
But yeah, man, other than that, here, Thursday nights, we're doing our thing, Uncivilized Scoundrels, and yeah, you guys can catch me at a bunch of other streams. I think I'm going on. I'll be with Aries on Saturday, and yeah, I'll be everywhere. I'm everywhere, man.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
But, yeah.
So, and you deserve it, brother. Like you definitely deserve it, man. So
Appreciate it,
glad.
bro.
I mean, it's just about time you shine, bro. So definitely you deserve that.
Thanks, man.
I mean, as long as you shining without flexing, you know what I mean?
Oh, come on.
That's how it is. Don't flex.
Bro,
you always flexing.
This is the way. Come on.
We walked into that one.
Yeah, I did. I sure enough did. I don't even know what the hell I was thinking. Like, it is. But you're right. It is the way. Also, if you haven't already, man, subscribe to the 16 Scale Man YouTube channel, Twitter, and Instagram. Great content over here. At least we try to. Tomorrow is Figure Flex Friday. It is the debut of that show at 10 o'clock. It's going to be some fun. It's only going to be for about an hour. But Brendan is on there, so it might be about 3. But it's supposed to be about an hour.
I mean, if you want me to start saving some of the gems that I give you on every stream, I can put some in my back pocket and save some, because we do have Saturday Spider-Man show.
Yes, we have Saturday Spider-Man show. I can't wait for that.
If,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, you can actually catch tomorrow's episode of Figure Flex Friday. So I'm so happy about that. Also on Saturday, like you was talking about, we're going to actually do a deep dive into the history of Spider-Man, also No Way Home. Just want to kind of talk about that film and just certain things, aspects of that movie that's going to affect the MCU going forward. And people just probably miss those things. This is a lot. There's a lot that actually happened, and then at the end, that great suit. I can't wait. My my classic suit Spidey's going to be here tomorrow, so I can't wait.
I'm hoping that mine is too. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be here tomorrow. Cannot wait for that figure. But yeah, so that's then. We were going to actually do and I'm so glad you brought that up, Brendan. We were actually going to do Take Your Position on Sunday, but we canceled that until next Sunday because it is Super Bowl Sunday. So we just felt like, okay, let's just take that off. We're not going to do that. But also, then come back here on Monday. We will have Comic Book Talk with Friends. That's every Monday. Then back here again for Say What on Wednesday, where we actually go. Hopefully there'll be some releases and stuff that we can talk about, but we'll have Say What on Wednesday. Maya, got to get you on there as well. Is there as well, and even though Cece talks about she doesn't collect, I'm roping her in any chance I get, anytime her schedule, and then when the budget fits, we're going to bring her in always.
The weight of my wallet would suggest I collect, just not Hot Toys yet.
I feel you.
Notice she said yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
She did say yes. So you left the door open.
Mm-hmm.
You did leave that door ajar. So you did. So there you go. And yes, back here. Well, wait a minute, because I guess we have to decide that right now. Book of Boba is done for the season for Nate, and we're not getting Obi-Wan until what is it?
Obi is May 25th.
Now there's a lot of Star Wars content still out there that we could discuss, but it's up to Mario. What do you think? Do we go back to the old ways of just streaming every other week, or do we just basically just keep it the way we're doing it? Which what do you guys think?
Look, man, I think we've got a lot of momentum going on weekly.
So
I feel like we should continue it. I think we should just go. Right. If everyone's here, I don't look at Cece's like, I don't know if I could do weekly, but if she can, I see her making those faces.
Hey,
if she can make it, man.
And if she can, whoever can basically make it.
Let's keep it
Cece,
going.
you already know you got a spot. So even if certain weeks you can't wait or make it, you still got a spot. I already know that you come on, we talking Star Wars all day, every day. I know Maya can't, I know I got to fit her in whenever her schedule permits, but we'll talk about that behind the scenes. We'll have that discussion off camera. But it'd be good to just basically have. You haven't met Vinny yet. Vinny couldn't make it tonight because some people in his room was acting up, so he had to straighten them out. Nah, he's doing a couple of things with the missus. They went to a concert, so definitely he couldn't make it, but he'll be back next week. But yeah, man, like I said, hey, if y'all want to do it, and definitely I'm all in, because I could talk Star Wars all day, every day. There's so much content that we can actually talk about, so much to come. We can even talk about, even though it's not until May, we could talk about the simple fact that they did release and let us know that it's coming in May, and there was a lot of stuff talked about. That amazing poster that is now my header on Facebook. There's a lot that we can actually go through and talk about. But yeah, tune in, I guess,
Star
next.
Wars statues to talk about too.
Oh hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of Star Wars stuff to talk about. So we got that. So yeah, tune in next week. I guess we'll basically be back, same time, same channel. But yeah, again, thanks everybody for basically being here tonight. We got one super chat here by Superhero Displays. Once again, respectful disagreements. Who would have thunk it? Hey,
absolutely, man.
Hey, that's true, man. But yes, thanks everybody for being here. I do want to just address a couple things here in the chat. A couple, people here. Tobar the Great always. Mary Sullivan. Rudolph L. Fito, thank you for being here. Loco Lou, my guy. Figure Flex Friday, you know what time it is. Marco Hansen, Cuervo 383. We got Single Songwriter in the building. Thank you for being here, man. Mark Hansen. We got 16 Fix in the building. Marco, thank you for being here, man. Tobar, let's see here. We have Charlie the Unicorn in the building. Thank you for being here. Maya was in the chat. Brendan was in the chat. Let's see here. Mark 7. I had to say it. I know he's talking about, the beat.
Send him the beats.
I swear to God, he's getting on my nerve with that beat. I'm going to send him the beat.
Just send him the beats. You've been doing this for like 4 months
But you
now.
know what? I've sent him so many already. That's the thing. I'll send him some. I'll send it again.
I think you've been sleeping on it. And procrastination is like masturbation.
Yeah.
You're only screwing yourself.
Yeah.
So get on it. Come on.
This guy.
Hey.
Tell me
Anyway,
I'm
Ashley Chase. Oh, well, I guess I gotta send him. Bloodsport 1. Max Geek them always, man. One Pouch, man. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. Who else we got? I Am Legend 0000. Thank you for basically being here. I can't wait to go upstairs because I am watching Peacemaker tonight. Rudolph Elfito,
so
thank
good.
you for being. I know I can't. I didn't see it yet, so I'm going to watch it tonight. Let's see who else we got. Raleigh Reviews, my guy. Thank you for basically being here. Toya T, I bet you she's upstairs asleep. G Times 23, thank you for being here, man. As always, who else we got? Man, we got a few people here.
Mark 7 says this song was your idea, Leal.
Yeah, we got One Pouch Man in the building. Bug Man in the building. Leave me alone, man. The Big Game. Yes. Superhero Displays always, man. Thank you for being here. TK592. Thank you for basically being here as always. And yeah, if I haven't said your name again, so glad that you guys actually tuned in. We got my guy, Six Scale Mafia. We have Rick James Motter. We can have Prince Mando. Know what? That's kind of funny. But yeah, tune in tomorrow, man. Like, it's going to definitely be a great show. And again, like I said, I dropped the teaser yesterday for the show. I'm gonna drop it again. This is what you can expect for the opener of tomorrow's show. Yes, cannot wait until tomorrow.
Looks fantastic.
Yes, I cannot wait. It's going to be fun. Who's that? Tobar said, butt naked is back. That's funny. That is so funny. But yes, thank you guys for coming through. Again, it's been a great show, great discussion as always. We like to bring it. The ladies represent every week, all the time, and that's what I love to see. We can sit back so we don't have to talk so much. We can just let them go off and just drop the mic moments. As always, CC, Maya, thank you for being here. And guys, you know what time it is. Everybody out there, we love y'all. And again, stay uncivilized as you want to be, as you should be, and as always will be. Peace. We are out.
So uncivilized.